On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will take a deep dive into the latest Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer to give fans more insights into what they saw and how certain scenes may play out in the series. They'll also talk about a few new character name reveals for the series and how these characters may impact Kenobi's adventure. If Kenobi isn't your space Jesus, fear not. The dudes will also talk about the Ahsoka series and how it has started filming. A few Star Wars Day purchases and new collectibles will also be discussed. And then, of course, the show will end with the fan segment featuring Question of the Week responses and the latest Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie! Hey, now everybody, welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show. Matt is here, Nick is here, Wanda is here, Dr. Stephen Strange is here. It is a Star Wars Time Show party. Woo! We got 2 wrenches in the live stream. If you want to join the live stream, remember every Tuesday, 2:30 p. EST on the youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Can't spell too many words at once, Nick. You never know. You never know where this old brain's going to go.
Yeah. You may misspell some stuff. You may get some words jumbled up there, but it worked out this time.
And look, you weren't here the first time I wore my shirt from Adrian, but check it out. Have you seen my I Love Star Wars on me? I know I sent you the picture, but it's looking pretty good.
I have not seen you wearing it yet, so this is a first.
Well, before we get into it, here is our guest. You know, she's always here, and look, she's got a little Grogu dress on today. Timely fashion for a Tuesday and Daddy's show, right?
Yeah.
Did everyone like the dress?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll see you later. Maybe we'll do some hoverboarding. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, there, we got to get that in there. That's right, bring on the bots. We got Big Joe in here, Devin, they've got their wrenches, and they're ready to swat down the bots from the Kremlin, because Putin has his eyes on the SWTS. Now that I mentioned his names, he definitely has his eyes on the SWTS, and Nick is going to get hit with a Scud missile at any moment.
More than likely.
I just forgot. I'm forgetting a part of my uniform today, Nick. Sometimes you like to let the scalp air out. I'm not quite as confident as you with my baldness, so let me go ahead
I'm just
strap on the official hat.
full committed to the bald. I mean, I was also one of the people who was as soon as I showed signs of my hair is leaving. Yeah, and I was like, fuck it. Because for a little while, I was like, oh man, I'm going to try to keep it. Let me take this thing. Let me take this thing. Let me try this shampoo. And then after that, I was using special shampoo. I was taking 2 different types of supplements and all this other shit. And I was it's just fucking hair. I was like, fuck it. I'm early committing to just the shaved head approach. And I don't
did you try the Propecia and shit like that? I mean, did you go that far? Yeah, me too.
I went to a dermatologist because I started thinning a little bit when I was really young, when I was 24, 25. And I started taking it. And then when I moved here, I was I'm not I had to find a new, dermatologist, all new doctors and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck this, man. It's just not worth the upkeep just to keep some fucking hair on my head.
See, and I actually think tip your head down. Let me see that globe. Let me see the top there. Okay. So you got some spotting on the top of your head, right?
Yeah.
See me, I'm worse than Dave Matthews now, but I just have that skunk stripe that goes down the middle. And my hairline is now all the way up to the middle of my head.
Yeah. like my hairline is still like, I mean, it's not that far back.
Yeah, like
yet,
your hairline's better, but you have the patchy stuff on the top.
Yeah,
so
like I would have complete bald spots in like the middle of my head.
So that's why I guess I haven't gone the full shaving yet, because I at least have that fake older man balding look going where there's enough hair that's cohesive that I don't feel like it looks completely ridiculous by not going fully bald yet. Plus, I'm just lazy. I mean, shaving just seems like a pain in the ass. I only shave my neck once a week, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I don't know if I could get into doing my head. But all right, we're not here for male grooming. Manscaped kicked us to the curb, so we don't have to talk about that shit anymore, even though I just doused my balls in some deodorant from Manscaped. But so we got plenty of Star Wars stuff to talk about, which we knew would happen because last week, as we lamented, our show was airing a day before Star Wars Day, and I correctly, as usual, go ahead everyone, stand up and clap for me, predicted that we'd only get a Kenobi trailer, and then nothing but capitalism uncaged. And that's exactly what it was. It was, here's your Kenobi trailer and poster, and now here's all the stuffs. And I got caught up in Star Wars Day consumerism for the first time in a while. I did the Lego purchase prior, which still hasn't even fucking shipped. So boo on you, Lego. Why would I ever order stuff online from you again? I'll just go to the damn stores. But then, Nick, people like you and your fucking targeted advertising on social media, I've become a lemming. I got hit again with Enso rings. I now own every Star Wars Enso ring but 2, because they got me with the fat bands for Star Wars Day. Rock'em socks got me for Star Wars Day. I had to get my full-on knee-high Vader socks. I got the Black Series Vader helmet on pre-order. I for the first time ever, I ordered a Black Series helmet collectible. It was the repaint Boba Fett. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It continued past Star Wars Day. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but I now have purchased a one wheel. You ever hear the one wheel?
No.
It's like it's like a skateboard with a go-kart tire on it.
Oh yeah, I know what it is. Now that you say, you describe it, yes.
So it's like last week the Star Wars is like cha-ching, cha-ching, 400, 500. I'm like, that's not enough. I'm gonna buy fucking one wheel, and those are in the thousands of dollars. So I really celebrated the spirit of Star Wars Day, which is not Star Wars. It's to spend money and keep the machine going. So
all I bought was a phone case because Casetify released their new Star Wars line on May 4th. So I bought one of those. I actually spent more money on New Orleans Saints gear on May the 4th than on Star Wars stuff.
You're still, Nick, like I said, you're still honoring the day, because in the end, the day is just meant to spend. So it doesn't matter if you're spending on Star Wars or Saints. They both start with S. You're committed to the cause.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, but yeah, I mean, the phone case still is not here yet, because I think it shipped yesterday. So they may have had some shipping delays over there at Casetify.
Aren't we all spoiled by Amazon? Honestly,
I know, right?
And Prime.
2 day free shipping?
It's
like, come on.
It's insane. I'm sitting here like, fucking free shipping takes a week now. What the fuck? I could order a car on Amazon and get it in 2 days, or a couch, or a big ass item. I mean, I just ordered a bike rack that probably weighs 100 pounds, and it's going to be here tomorrow. But we a lot of us took advantage of, hey, free shipping here on Star Wars Day. And if you're like me, you're looking at that damn tracking number, and you're like, I feel like Star Wars Day was 2 years ago at this point in time. Do I even need these fucking socks anymore? You know what I mean? Like, it's starting to get to that point. Like,
yeah, it's like, man, can I still cancel this?
Yeah, the shit's going to show up, and it's going to be like, why did I order this? But I will say, and I'm late to the party here, and I don't know if this would interest you because you are into the lightsabers, but the Black Series, like 1-to-1 scale helmets are actually very, very nice.
I've thought about those before, but I really just don't have anywhere to put them.
Yeah, it's a room. I got you.
Yeah.
Because I got the repainted Boba, and surprisingly, my kid loves it. Like, she could not stop putting it on her head, singing, "Hey, Daddy, put on the Boba Fett song," and she'd sit there and like flex. And I was like, "No, pretend like you're holding a gun and shooting people." Really good parenting. Really good parenting was happening last week, but all in the vein of Star Wars Day. So yeah, I'm the One Wheel. It looks like some people in the chat have heard about it. You got to check it out, Nick. I mean, I saw this is how it happened, and I blame Stunt Buddy, and it's a shame One Wheel doesn't offer affiliate sales because he would have made some money. Because I saw his dumbass just skating along in an IG story. I'm like, what the fuck is that thing? And he tagged it, and I looked, and you know how you used to be. I don't know if you ever liked this, Nick, but I'm someone that if I see something and I want it, it becomes the singular focus in my life to where at this point I think I'm a One Wheel expert without owning a One Wheel. I've watched every goddamn video you could watch. I've read articles and should I go this model or that model type of debates. And it just came to the point. It was like a fever dream every night. One Wheel, One Wheel, One Wheel. So yesterday I was like, you know what? Fuck it. They offer financing, which I'm a big proponent of financing at 0% APR. I recommend everyone do it, even if you don't have the money. It's a good way to teach you how to use credit. Get your credit score up. Plus, you can get bigger, nicer things without taking a huge chunk out of your finances. So I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I would have went with the mega model, the $2,200, but it was going to take 6 weeks, and I'm not fucking waiting 6 weeks. So I went with the Pint X, and it should be here Friday. So if I'm not on the show next week, it's because I'm dead.
You broke your legs.
Yeah, from the One Wheel.
I never got into shit like that, like those hoverboards, like the One Wheel stuff. 'Cause, like, even electric scooters, like I don't ride electric scooters because it's just like all that takes is like you're riding in the middle of the street. All it takes is one asshole who's not paying attention.
Yeah, and you're dead.
To fucking hit you and you're dead. There's nothing that you can do about it. And then like even like the first week that they came out in Austin, and this was like a long fucking time ago. This was like probably 5 years ago. The first week they were out in Austin, I used to work in the middle of downtown Austin, and like somebody was buzzing on one like past our office door, and I walked out, and this dude just full on plowed into a sign for the store next to us, just fucking nailed it.
On a scooter or One Wheel?
On a scooter. Yeah. On one of the electric
scooters.
The
city scooters,
and then just fucking flies off this thing. And I was like, I'm never riding one of those motherfuckers. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned hoverboards because that's kind of what has pushed it. We were at Target this week. Again, I don't know what it was. It was something in the air. I blame it on Star Wars Day. But we were at Target taking one of Charlie's friends to pick out birthday presents. You know, her whole family had COVID. And now we found out she had COVID too. So we've been testing every day. Who the fuck knows what's going on? Be careful, my friends. It's starting to flare up again, if anything else. But we're at Target, Nick, and they had this like clearance display of hoverboards. And they were marked like 80% off. I mean, even today, you can look at some of the hoverboards. They're still going to cost you $180, $200. These things were $75 a piece. I said, fuck it, get 2 of them. Let's go. Threw 2 in the cart. Me and the kid were like, they're for 13 plus. I put my 6-year-old on it. Who gives a shit, right? You'll figure it out. And that's really what kind of finally was like, you know what? You can do the hoverboard, which are hard. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
If you're an adult and you've looked at kids like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's nothing. Hoverboards are one of the hardest things I've ever tried to do in terms of maintaining. You have to have
a really good center of balance.
Oh, it's nuts, dude. And I've eaten it like on the street. I have eaten it after feeling like I was getting confident. So that's what finally convinced me is, all right, dude, One Wheel. Let's shred some pavement and probably your face. So that's where we're at. Oh, Kill Cutter. We got Kill Cutter in the live stream. I think that might be a first. Welcome, Kill Cutter, one of our favorite Star Wars toy photographer artists out there. All right, so a little bit of the Star Wars Day consumerism recap. As you can see on the screen, if you are on the live stream, come join us, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. I've got a picture of Wanda and Doctor Strange, and that's because we checked out the Multiverse of Madness last Thursday, the early screening. It was a packed house, so I felt a little anxious. Not gonna lie, even with getting a little more free living, I wouldn't say I'm full on YOLO, but it's like getting in large groups and enclosed areas just makes me a bit anxious these days. But anyways, we're at the theater, we're checking it out. And I have to say, I quite enjoyed Doctor Strange. I'm a fan of anything multiverse. That's why I like the Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. I still think that's one of the better portrayals of a multiverse. But I love the MCU. I don't care how corny it is or retread the stuff is. I'm in for that type of shit. I'm one of the dopes that's going to be there night one every night. And, Scorsese's going to think my brain is nothing but pudding, and that's okay. But I found it to be, it's easily the goriest MCU of all time. I don't know if it could have got an R rating, but it definitely, you can sense Sam Raimi's touch on it. I mean, there's like head stuff, exploding stuff, very violent. By far the most violent Marvel movie, in my opinion. I wouldn't say, some people are like, oh, it's got horror elements. I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, there's like a zombie here or there you've seen in the trailer, but whatever. But, overall, I really enjoyed the new character, America Chavez, played by some young lady with a kick-ass name. I think it's like Ziotil or something like that. It starts with an X. I'm dumb. I don't know how to pronounce those types of names. But she was interesting, and like I said, it's just a fun movie. It's a good multiverse movie. I've dug Strange more and more since his debut film, and Wanda's journey is a little curious, but if you watched WandaVision, I think a lot of it makes sense, and you definitely get some payoff there. So I enjoyed it. I think it is falling right around that 75 to 80 that you're going to see on Rotten Tomatoes if you're someone that feels like you have to verify your opinion with other people. I still suggest just going and watching something and seeing how you feel before reading critic responses or fan scores. But it's there. It's like a B, high B type of movie. Worth your time for sure.
I will eventually see it. Like I told Matt, my next 2 weekends are going to be.
Nick's running a hotel at Casa de Caminita before they move out. He's bringing in everyone from his extended family here to hang out down in Tejas at this point in time. Yeah. Do they know that they're like showing up towards hot as fuck time in Texas, or is that what they're looking for?
So Taylor's brother may not be aware of that, but like my cousin who's coming in this weekend, she lives in Louisiana, so it's equally as hot. Yeah. So it's
probably less swampy. I mean, it's going to be like a break for her probably because you're not going to have that humidity. Man,
the humidity is so nice here. It's
this dry heat like at 100 is great. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So she may be okay. Now, Taylor's brother is coming in from Virginia, so that is probably going to be a significant step up in heat as soon as he lands.
Yeah, well, best of luck. I know family visiting can always get a little curious. It always gets me on edge a bit. It's not that I don't like family. It's just I don't like when they're here. So I wish you luck. Hopefully you enjoy the time. But the next thing we want to talk about is Star Wars related. I assigned Nick his homework and he failed, but I'm hoping this segment will convince him the next time he has some free time to check out the Disney Gallery episode of The Book of Boba Fett. I found it to be the best gallery yet, in my opinion, in terms of just the kind of really the insights from Favreau, Filoni, cast and crew. I loved it. And I'll be honest, many reasons as to why I liked it all point to the fact that it justified the opinions I was sharing on the show about it. So once again, my mind is directly in tune with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I don't want to say we have a dyad in the Force, but we may have a dyad in the Force. Because a lot of the shit I was trying to tell everyone that was all upset was like, listen, this is part of the plan. This is how it is. This is the way it has to be. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck you, we hate you, you're stupid and loud. It's like, no, I'm telling you, John is the king. He knows they're doing the right thing, even if the Vespas look goofy. Speaking of the Vespas, you do get one shot of them in the behind the scenes, and they really were straight up Vespas, wheels and all that they built like a platform over so you couldn't see the wheels. But real quick, and I the reason I'm bringing this up, A, I think it's a great watch. B, I've started trying to do more short form content on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Reels, because that's what everyone tells me we have to do these days to try and get a new audience. And outside of one random video about me with my floating head in Obi-Wan's crotch, they all failed and got the same traction as most other videos. Outside of on Instagram, we did get a little traction, but it's just to bring eyes to, hey, we're trying the short form content. Maybe pass it around. If you see it, give it a like, give it a watch. But here's a few key moments from the gallery episode for Book of Boba that I really think fans should pay attention to. Because in the end, whatever we say is right, and this verifies our righteousness. All right, so first up, John has a segment on... Oh, there goes Nick. He's had his first drop out of the show. So let's wait until he calls back here. Hey, Nick, where you at? Give us a call on that whack Skype. Here he is. And he's back.
First one of the day.
Well, last week we only had one, so hopefully your system has gotten it out of its system. But he is back, and we'll a lot of times we'll just say Nick is practicing his pantomime skills. That's why he looks so still right now.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go, Nick. You didn't miss anything. Don't worry. So early on in the gallery episode, a highlight for me and a lesson for a lot of people. Jon Favreau does a little spot on why the Book of Boba Fett couldn't just be the Boba Badass show, which I explained to you all, but you didn't believe me. Now I'll let the creator explain it to you. So that was one. John also comments on the mods that everyone hated and why they acted and looked the way they did. And he explained it. And this is something that even I didn't quite get watching the Mod Squad in the Book of Boba Fett. But here was John's thoughts on why they looked the way they did and why they carried themselves the way they did. He just said they're the new generation. They want to mix things up. They're mixing droid parts into their bodies, just like human generations from one gen to the next tend to do different things, look different, get a little more progressive, a little more wild. Compare myself, a Gen Xer, to my parents, baby boomers.
I think I mentioned that when people first started hating on them.
Like I said, Nick, we're always fucking right. This is just to reiterate that to everyone else that may have forgotten it. Okay, so I'm glad you reminded me of that. So we'll give you that one. That you get that win, I get the previous win. All right. The next one, both Dave and John commented on why they went Mandalorian heavy, and they basically said we didn't want to skip a whole season without picking up Din's story. They found importance in those lore dump moments. They wanted to show us that after giving up Grogu, Din is trying to find his purpose again. And they literally referred to the Book of Boba Fett, again, something I told all of you earlier, they called it the third season of storytelling. All right, they didn't call it Book of Boba Fett Season 1. They didn't call it Mandalorian 2.5. They just said this was our third season of storytelling. So it truly is the Mandoverse. And I think Ahsoka, which we'll talk about later, is the next piece.
Chapter.
Yeah, exactly. And they very well may call it their fourth or fifth season of storytelling, depending on when it comes out. I mean, it's probably going to be at least fifth, right? Because we're expecting to get Mandalorian proper season 3, end of this year.
Ahsoka.
Yeah. So, sure. And this surprised me the most. But Mark fucking Hamill really did act in that episode. He was in every goddamn scene again. They didn't really make a big deal about it like they did with Mandalorian Season 2. But they brought him in. They put him in that new Jedi tunic. They shaved the poor man's beard. And he literally sat there and acted every moment for the body double, which I love that Mark calls him the stunt double. He doesn't even refer to him by his name. I think that's fantastic. But that surprised me because I don't know, the way they kind of depicted it in the credits or whatnot, it felt like, yeah, hey, Mark, we channeled Mark's character, but he didn't have as much involvement. But no, he was there for everything, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And here's some revelations where, I don't know, maybe Dave kind of put me in my place. But Dave said, not this one. I'm sorry, the next comment from Dave. But I also found this one to be pretty insightful. Dave was just kind of talking about the Luke moments and how he envisions Luke at this point in time. And he revealed that in his mind, he feels that Luke at this point in time, and really through his training, was most likely headed towards the Qui-Gon Jinn way of Jediism. That Luke was channeling more of Qui-Gon's way of working with the Force through the light than even his proper masters, Obi-Wan and Yoda, and his own father. So, I found that interesting, especially if you think back, Nick, to how important Dave Filoni considers Qui-Gon to the overall Skywalker family and the tale of Anakin.
Exactly. Yeah, from the first Disney gallery where you talked about the importance of the Duel of Fates and how that kind of shaped the whole future of Star Wars from there.
Do you agree with that? Do you think if Luke didn't have the tragedy of Kylo and the burning of his temple, was he going towards the Qui-Gon way, being a little more loose with the Force?
It's hard to tell at this point because we honestly haven't seen much of him as an actual teacher. Like, we've only seen very small snippets of him as a teacher, and that was all pretty basic kind of stuff. I know that, he was telling Grogu at that time to live in the moment, pay attention to the living Force, which was definitely something that Qui-Gon
of course.
We remember him telling that to young Anakin and even to Obi-Wan, younger Obi-Wan at that time too. So from that little bit of a moment, you may be able to draw that inference, but it's hard to tell because he does open up a proper academy where he's teaching students. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly how he was teaching students back then, but or the tenets or anything like that. If he made any changes to what the Jedi Code would be at that time, but yeah, it's hard to tell, but you could kind of see a little bit of a shirking of the traditional just in those few moments with Grogu.
And the other thing I forgot to say with Mark, they didn't let anyone know that he was coming, not even Rosario. So when she showed up that day, he was just sitting on that jungle set, and she literally, fell over with surprise and excitement. And they got a nice candid shot holding Grogu on the lot. I think Rosario shared it to her socials. It was pretty cool. Speaking of Rosario, I think she had a birthday yesterday or 2 days ago, and I didn't realize how close we are in age. She's only a year older than me. It just goes to show you that she has aged much, much better than I have, much more better, or however the fuck you say that type of thing. So yeah, God, she is a beauty. All right, and then here's the one, Nick. If you remember, we had a little bit of a contentious discussion over how I thought Luke was training Grogu, in particular with the choice. I was a little hard on Master Luke. I thought he was being a bit of a hypocrite, and this doesn't happen very often, especially on this show. I think I have been corrected by Dave Filoni himself, because here's what he said. Dave thinks Luke, this is how I wrote it in my notes, because yes, I take notes when I watch Star Wars stuff, because I'm cool. Dave thinks Luke killed it with mentoring Grogu. Thinks he fucking knocked it out of the park. In particular, he brought up the choice, and he's like, listen, just the fact that Luke knew to give Grogu the choice because of the bond Grogu had with Din showed that Luke knows how to mentor and see the signs. And I guess I have to stand corrected at this point in time.
That was my point of view.
Yeah. I have to apologize. I guess Luke wasn't being a hypocrite. I guess he was being forward thinking a little bit beyond what his predecessors would have done. Because like I said, as Dave explained it, the fact that he even gave him the choice, knowing the pull that Grogu was feeling, was above and beyond what anyone would have done with Luke. And it is true. A lot of the arguments I was making, his masters were saying, fuck you, don't leave. If you leave, you're going to fuck up our plan that we've been sitting around for 20 years waiting to enact. So I hate to admit this. This could be a first on the Star Wars Time show. I had an incorrect opinion. I apologize to our fans. I apologize to the maker, to Dave Filoni, to Jon Favreau, and all of Star Wars. Thank you. Okay. So that was it. It's a damn good gallery. I really think it was the best so far. Nick, it felt like the first one where they had that roundtable discussion, with all the directors, and that's the one where Dave really opened up about his Star Wars knowledge. So it was great. And, just seeing Tem in it and how jacked he was and Ming-Na, it's just a good one. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I know Nick is going to do that immediately after the show. All right. And the last little opener we have for you, I typically will do a full segment on new comics, but I have to say last week's new comics sucked. So all I want to alert people to, if you want to check out any of the interesting bits from the first issue of the Obi-Wan comic, which I was expecting to be just full of killer canon for young Kenobi. Like we're talking Padawan Kenobi. It's some cool shit. But it was just like blah. The whole issue felt blah, but there were 3 interesting bits. We now know, and they're pretty interesting if you're a loser. We know the name of his OP is Akani, probably the one we're going to see him riding in Kenobi, because yes, OPs live 90 years. We get to see the first time Obi-Wan use a Jedi mind trick as a Jedi. He did it as a young kid and almost pulled it off. And 3, like Broom Boy and TLJ, Obi-Wan and Yoda used the Force on a broom to do some chores. So there you go. That's what you get out of that comic, and that's
Dude,
why.
Honestly, that's how all of us would use the Force if we had it. We'd be like fucking turning on light switches with the Force.
Yeah.
We'd be like opening doors up with the Force. Like we all think like, oh my God, it'd be so, I'd do all this cool shit. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You'd open the fridge and pull a fucking can of beer.
No,
that's what you would do.
I have to think that the writers were kind of tipping their hat to Broom Boy, because literally what happens, Obi-Wan gets he ran out to try and save a friend that wanted to escape. It was another female Jedi, so who knows, maybe Obi-Wan was looking for a little something, and Yoda's like, oh hey, good to see you back. So Yoda uses the Force, sucks the broom to him, and then gives it to Obi-Wan as his punishment to clean the temple. So I really do think that was a nod to Broom Boy using the Force to get the broom and then do some sweeping. The other new issue was the proper Star Wars run. I think it was 22 or 23. Garbage in terms of new canon. I guess from a perspective of appreciating Commander Zara's impeccable tactics as an Imperial fighter and disciple of Tarkin, it was kind of interesting, but outside of that, it did nothing. It didn't push Crimson Reign forward. It didn't really even push the Star Wars run forward. So to me, it was a turd. So much so, it didn't even get a shitty short that 2 people would have watched. So there's your Star Wars comic update. And now on to the big one, the trailer breakdown. All right, Nick, we talked about last week. I was the one kind of sitting there saying, I think they're going to save everything for Celebration outside of Kenobi, and sure enough, that's what happened. And we did get a new trailer with, it was like 98% new footage, all new quotes. So, as we typically do after we get a new trailer, it is time for the iconic SWTS trailer breakdown segment. This is where I need my soundboard, right? Like a little beep, 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 beep. A little trumpet like that. All right, so as we usually do it with these trailer breakdowns, we're going to go through each of the new stills. There's 32 of them, and we'll discuss A, what was going on, B, what we think's going on, and C, what we know's going on. All right, does that sound good? I have to tell you, making Star Wars at this point has dumped a lot, and I've avoided it on purpose. But knowing what I know, I think this new trailer is going to lead me to some pretty damn good speculations with some of the stuff that was a little curious to me. But we'll see what happens. All right, Nick, you ready for this? Here we go.
Let's do it.
So the first still we got this starship coming in. The back end almost looks like Ochi's ship, but we know it's not Ochi's ship. If you watch my breakdown on YouTube, I hope you did. Not many people did, but I think that was my fault because I pretty much on the thumbnail said spoilers. So I'll never do that again. I chased them away just from the fucking thumb, but whatever. Live and learn. Nick, I think this is probably a transport that Kenobi is on, and I think they're headed to that planet Daiyu. And as we know in this cast, we know why Obi is headed to this planet. He has been tasked by Bail Organa to search for, spoiler alert, if you haven't been on this podcast in the past 2 months, I guess I'll just say a young princess. Okay? A young princess has been kidnapped, and Kenobi is off planet. He leaves Tatooine, something I never thought he did, but I guess this makes sense if a young princess is in need. So this definitely doesn't look Inquisitor to me. I'm thinking this is probably the transport Kenobi eventually hooks into to make it to Daiyu. All right. From there, all we really get here, Nick, is it's like a reverse angle of the fifth brother shot that we got from the first trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks pretty familiar.
This is the Daiyu planet, so clearly at some point the Empire also gets wind, and maybe they're even involved in the kidnapping at this stage, that a potential big target is on this planet. So they're clearly breaking out the big guns. Fifth brother's here. We know Reva is here from other shots. We know the mysterious Inquisitor, who we'll reveal in our next segment, is also here. So there's something going on this planet that probably isn't just your typical Imperial occupation. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely looking for something.
Oh, yeah.
You don't line up in formation like that, being headed up by an Inquisitor for just standard Imperial occupation purposes. Like they're definitely here because they know Kenobi is here somewhere, or some high value target. We'll put it that way. We'll say some high value target is here.
Right. And so like as these scenes are playing in the trailer, we get a voiceover from, I'm just going to call him Ben at this point in time. They're coming. Stay hidden or we will not survive. And you can almost take it to the bank. Those are lines being spoken to Nari the Jedi, who we've learned through leaks is going to be the impetus for the Inquisitors making it to Tatooine. And then eventually Kenobi realizing that, all right, these fuckers are coming around with a Force user and someone's kidnapped and someone doesn't want me here. Maybe I should leave planet for a little bit and let things cool off. But I really don't think that's Obi-Wan speaking to Owen or anyone else but Nari, or however it's going to be spelled, Nari, when he finds him and essentially says, dude, I've been looking for you for 10 years. Let's go. And Obi-Wan's going to say...
there's nobody else that he would say, like, we too.
Yeah, exactly. Unless he truly has been doing a lot of spice and hallucinating on black milk, and he now thinks that he has a companion that's not real.
Yeah, so, an imaginary friend.
Yeah. All right. So I really wish we could just scroll through these shots. This stupid-ass website. We get a new shot of the Inquisitors arriving in what is now called the Inquisitor Scythe shuttle. We learned that through a Lego leak. But this is them clearly making touchdown on Tatooine. We still don't know if it's going to be a named Mos or if it's just a random city or a new city. It could be Isley. But it's more than likely going to be in the market area that we know Kenobi's going to be around. The Lars family's going to be there. And they're coming here to shake down and intimidate the citizens to get information on Nari. Okay, so that's why they are on Tatooine. It's not for Kenobi yet. Remember, only Reva, while they're on Tatooine, says that she senses Kenobi. And the Grand Inquisitor basically says, shut up, sit down, you moron. Okay? And you can kind of get that in some of the lines here. There is going to be, it does seem like there's a contentious relationship between the fifth brother and Reva and the Grand and Reva. It's almost like, they beat her down. Like, no, you're not as...
They just hate women, especially women of color.
There you go. Makes sense for this time that we live in. So yeah, and while that shot is happening, I think we got we eventually get one of the best quotes in the trailers, right? When we see Owen. Well, first, here's the fifth bride again. They're here. This is going to be the scene where they just start going through and maiming motherfuckers because they're not telling them where the Jedi is at. And from what I've heard, or what we've heard, it sounds like it's going to be Reva is the one that is going to be getting a little brutal.
Going chop happy.
Yeah. And it's more than likely after she probably gets berated in front of everyone, like, shut up, idiot. There's no Kenobi here. We're just looking for a low-life Jedi. You're dumb. And then she's like, all right, where's the Jedi? Where is you motherfuckers? And she's like, whoosh, 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 chopping hands and legs off. So that's just more of this scene in that most Tatooine city square, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And there she is, looking angry and definitely looking pissed. Like, all right, quit making fun of me. I'll show you too. But here, this clip of Owen in the dialogue, one of the sickest burns in all of Star Wars. I love this moment. But you just hear Owen say, leave us alone. And this is more than likely taking place after the Inquisitor shakedown. Owen just saw what happened to his neighbors and fellow moisture farmers and was like, dude, if these motherfuckers are coming here for a random Force user, you're bad news. You're like a cancer at this point. You are gonna get Luke killed just by being here. To which Obi-Wan replies, as he would, this is where he kind of sounds like Qui-Gon at this point and not his old self. Because you remember his old self, he's like, we shouldn't train any motherfuckers that are too old, especially not this shithead life form that you just picked up with Jar Jar. But Obi says, when the time comes, he must be trained. And I love this. Owen just comes. It's almost like he whipped his dick out and just smacked it right across his face and said, like you trained his father, schmo, you schmuck, you loser, you punk. You're the worst Jedi trainer in the entire galaxy. I mean, we lost Nick again.
Oh, no.
Oh, there he is.
Here.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was a good meditative freeze right there, my friend. All right, so I love that moment. And you can tell it hurts Kenobi. He looks, he does that side look. And he's like, yeah, there's not much I can come back on that. He's got me there.
I mean, he was your only... he was your only Padawan, and he turned out to be the one who literally destroyed the galaxy.
Exactly.
So, if you had a track record, like if you were like Yoda and you're like, I've put fucking thousands of Jedi through training. I'm fucking all good. You're the guy who had one, and the one was the one that really fucked the galaxy for everybody. So you had a real bad track record.
I mean, think about it. Darth Maul knew it. Palpatine needed Skywalker to complete the plan. And Kenobi essentially hand-delivered him to him, wrapped in a bow, ready to go. And as soon as...
angry as you could ever need him. Here you go.
I mean, what happened? What happened immediately after Palpatine secured Skywalker? Order 66, the fucking Jedi, they fucked us up. I'm the Empire. I'm the Emperor now. We're now an Empire. We win. The Jedi, they were the one doing it all along. That's all he was waiting for. So yes, Owen's not wrong. And that's why I still laugh at some of you when you're like, oh, what do you mean Kenobi's failures? What the fuck shows are you watching? What movies have you been watching? Kenobi's failure. Kenobi doesn't have any failures. Please, as Nick said, he's one of the biggest failures in all of Star Wars. This goddamn pupil ended up becoming one of the biggest murderers in the galaxy. Okay? Enough said. But I love it. And I can't wait to see this scene play out in full because I think it's really going to hammer home the sour grapes that all of us felt when we watch A New Hope and you hear old Owen talk about old Ben in the Dune Sea. I mean, it's almost like he wants to get up, grab his rifle, and go murder him right there. He's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You're talking about this fucking hermit again? Going on these damn full crusades? Shut the fuck up. And now, that's the beauty of the show. We're going to get some of the context now. And it's going to make sense why Owen hates Obi-Wan's guts. I think, by the time we get to A New Hope now, because Owen's watching his people get murdered over Sith wannabes looking for Kenobi likes. So justification, gotta love it. Backfilling plot and story. That's why we love this interconnected universe that Filoni was hammering in that Disney Gallery episode. All right, it appears we're going to be spending more time than I thought on Nur at Fortress Inquisitorius. As the next shot we get is, it looks like Reva returning back, maybe from either their failed mission on Daiyu to capture or maim Kenobi, or maybe returning from Tatooine. We don't know yet. We don't know if the action's going to shift right from Tatooine to Daiyu for both Kenobi and the Inquisitors, or if the Inquisitors will stop back at Nur and then head out to Daiyu once they get a tip that there's some scruffy-looking space Jesus milling around spice dens. But I liked looking at the hangar. You know, you get some of the classic ships. You get a shuttle back there. You gotta love the blue ties hanging from the ceiling.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all taking place on Nur, as well as this next slide. And this is where we got some revelatory commentary from the fifth brother, when he says, "You still want Kenobi? He's gone." And you can tell, like I said, I really think fifth brother and Reva aren't going to be the best of friends. Not the Darksiders are always chummy with each other. But you can remember from Rebels, what was that? Was that the seventh and eighth brother? You know, they traveled in pairs. They seemed kind of jovial and ready to rock. I don't think that we're going to be able to say that for fifth brother and third sister here. So
no, it doesn't seem like they're on good terms for whatever reason.
Yeah, but you can tell that Reva, for some reason, has a singular focus on Kenobi, and no one else buys into her belief that he's still milling around the galaxy. I mean, fifth brother literally says he's gone. All right, so you know this is their meeting room. I don't know if the Grand Inquisitor or maybe Vader gets to sit at the high chair, or maybe this is just where this is like the rec room when he's getting pieced together or torn apart. But they're clearly planning something. They've got a planet in view. They've got a location targeted. This could very well be like, all right, we've got them on Daiyu. Let's roll. But the key thing here, like I said, I think was in the dialogue and setting up the contentious relationship between fifth and third.
Yeah.
Let me check the chat here, right here. No, we got, Vader. We're going to get him teased in a stinger at the end of episode 2, and then he should become more of a player throughout the rest of the series. Yes, that is how I envision and have read things are going to play out with Vader. So the first 2 episodes are really, in my opinion, at least from the bad guy side, Nick, are going to be A, to establish the Inquisitors, B, to establish Reva's main narrative, her hard-on for Kenobi, her contentious relationship with the other Inquisitors, which will ultimately, in my mind, set up the ability for her to maybe not do a full turn, but in the end, ultimately redeem herself and her bad deeds by finally just doing the right thing again. And I think a lot of that's going to be shown to us, like the way she's been treated by the Inquisitors. And there's a part of me that feels like maybe her and Kenobi had some sort of relationship back in the Jedi days. Maybe he was the one that picked her up from her parents. Maybe that's why she fucking hates him so bad. But so those first 2 episodes are going to be to establish Reva as a main bad, like a sub bad, until the big guy comes. But I think she's going to play a key role throughout, and then as she's ready to go out, it's going to be very impactful for the rest of Kenobi's journey, in particular with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But more on that in a little bit. All right, so from there, we just get a shot of our man there, Jesus, on his Opie that we now know is called Akani. And all right, so this shot, Nick, of the 3 little vessels shooting out of Fortress Inquisitorius, and then it leads into a shot we got from the first trailer that when we broke down the first trailer, I was like, you know what, these kind of look like escape pods. Maybe this is Kenobi and the young princess that he was sent to rescue. But now we're seeing them coming out of Nur, and they don't look like the Inquisitor shuttle. They're not coming out of the hangar. They literally look like ejection pods out of the fortress. Like, if you need to get the fuck out of Dodge, you get in these things versus trying to get into the hangar and fly out like you normally would. Do you agree with that? So
yeah, because like the hangar is definitely not like a top facing hangar. These definitely seem like some sort of escape mechanism. And given what we see later down in the screenshots and in the trailer, it's highly likely that Kenobi probably had to pull off some sort of fucking get in and get out on that, that station.
So here's where some new speculation comes into play. Does Kenobi's target get caught again and taken to Nur? What say you?
I mean, if it's Leia, no. If it's somebody else that he's tracking, possibly yes.
See,
because I don't think that the Inquisitors would be stupid enough to bring the senator's daughter to an Imperial facility for holding.
Okay. Like, well, here's the other interesting thing. There's 3 pods coming out. Yeah. So if we assume one's Kenobi, one's someone that's being held there, what could the other one be?
I mean, we assume that Nari just gets his fucking head chopped off.
He's dead on Tatooine. Like,
so.
I don't even think we have to assume that. We saw legs hanging in the first trailer. By the way, those are his. So he's with someone. Could this be the Kumal character? You think the rogue type? Because we did finally get a shot of Kumal in the new trailer.
We saw him, and it's hard to tell where he is. But like, it could be Kumal, and then. But you would figure too, like if you're taking 3 separate pods, like I don't know how they fit, but you're definitely not going to have a pod that just has a little kid in it either. Like,
I don't know. It's why I found this shot to be interesting. I know most people are probably like, oh, there's shit shooting out of the fortress, neat. But it goes from this shot to the shot of them flying in space, almost going in different directions. So, I don't know. Maybe it's Reva chasing, but I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, because you got to remember, when Kenobi goes on what we're assuming is going to be his first rescue attempt, he's still fucked up in the head. He doesn't have all his abilities back. He's not fully tapped into the Force. We don't even know if he's going to be wielding his lightsaber, trying to stay, low key. There could very well be a chance he may save her and then eventually lose her again because he's not operating at peak condition mentally and physically. So very well, and we hear Reva eventually say, we'll get there, talking about we want bounty hunters on him, low lifes on him. So they do eventually know that he's out and about, which means he probably causes a big stir, more than likely on Daiyu, as we've seen the shootouts and some fisticuffs. So maybe after they do know he's out and he's going for this target, they try to come get him then and maybe just get the target back from him versus getting him in full. And then he's got to go rescue her again from their fortress. Almost as like bait to get him to their home base where they feel like they're going to have the advantage. I don't know. I have a feeling that the young princess, as we've heard lightly, is going to be involved more than I think we initially thought. That's the only reason I'm thinking she may ultimately end up getting caught again after maybe after Kenobi gets beat by Vader. I mean, maybe at this point Vader's in the picture. Kenobi, kind of takes a hard one and loses sight of her, and they get her.
Yeah, I mean, if it is, like, I still think it would be the ultimate move in idiocy to bring her to an Imperial facility. But if it is her, if they are really leaving with her, then there are 4 people that are leaving. It's her and Kenobi in one shuttle, and then it's somebody else in another. It's somebody else in another.
All right. I'm gonna go with their tiny shuttles, and it's Kenobi, Leia, and Kumal. That's just why not? Let's have some varying opinions. We'll see who's right, who's wrong. Hopefully, we can mix them together and say we were somewhat right. Okay, that's called hedging our Star Wars speculation bets right there. I don't know. I have a feeling that the rescue is probably going to happen, but because he's not all there, it's probably going to get fucked up and he's probably going to lose her again, which is going to cause him to have to go into the enemy's camp.
Yeah, another foray.
Yeah, so then the trailer picks up and we get some insightful commentary from Reva herself when she responds to the fifth brother. Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter to squeeze him. And we see her on Daiyu, the city, the Shanghai planet. And what I didn't realize the first time, Nick, she's just sitting there watching the shootout from afar that we've seen in both trailers now. So it's almost like she's observing Kenobi in action first, which is curious. You know, you would think if she's an Inquisitor and wants to take him out, he's pinned down by bounty hunters and lowlifes, one of them being Forlom confirmed. Why not spring here? So I thought that was interesting. What is she trying to take in? What is she trying to learn here by kind of staying on the sidelines for a bit?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard to try to figure out what her motivations would be. I mean, it's an interesting call that she may like have a turn back to like the light side, maybe not the exact term that I'm looking for, but like a turn away from the Imperial side.
I do. I think it's inevitable, and it's probably going to be her death, or as she's dying, you know, maybe Kenobi eventually bests her, and she finally divulges something that is going to, you know, give him a light bulb moment. But I don't necessarily think she's going to have an Anakin type of turn where, you know, she comes in and saves the day that way. I don't know, but I do think we are going to see.
Kenobi doesn't even have a saber right now, does he? I don't think he
has
does.
his. I mean, he has his. Yeah, he kept his from the battle. I mean, I'm sure we haven't seen it in the trailers because that would be like a big woo boner moment. But no, he has not lost his saber unless they're going to explain that early on. But we should all expect him to have his saber for sure. If anything else, we know he has another saber, the Skywalker heirloom for sure. So you know what? One thing again, I guess I have to eat my words a little bit, but the fact that she just flat out says, and then we see the next scene, which is the Imperial Registry or the Bounty Hunter Registry with Kenobi's outdated mug on there, essentially saying wanted, bring him in to get your money. And they did already just show Forlom straight up in the second trailer.
Yeah, he's just like there.
Yeah,
boom, shooting it out.
There very well could be some other big name bounty hunters in here. I think so. I mean, you might as well throw them out there. Cad Bane is a possibility, and they have ties. I mean, Cad Bane kicked Obi-Wan and Quinlan Voss's asses by himself in the Clone Wars. Cad Bane stole a goddamn holocron from the Jedi Temple in the Clone Wars by himself. So, all right, I'm a little more open to that type of stuff now that they've just opened the floodgates for cameos from the bounty hunter wing of the Star Wars universe. You don't drop a line like that.
All bounty hunters fucking come after this bitch.
You don't drop a line like that and then it's just Forlom. I'm sorry. No. There's no way. And the fact that they already showed Forlom, that's kind of them saying, most of you won't know who this is, but you diehards will, and this is just a tease of what's to come. That's at least how I feel now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'd be very, very interesting. The saber would not be going to Maz Kanata yet. You got to remember, Luke still has to lose it. She doesn't come in possession of the Skywalker family blade.
Yeah, no, this is pre-OT. Yeah. So like this is a long time before Kanata gets that blade.
So all right. So I'm a little more open now to some of you who are like, oh, you know, Cad Bane could be there, or this one could be there. All right, fine. I got you. Cad would make sense. The reason I was down on Cad is because they just blew the Cad wad. You know, I don't. Do you get the same? Do you get the same punch with Cad again, or do you bring in another one that hasn't been featured since Empire Strikes Back? I don't know.
Yeah, I would look to bring back like Dengar. I'd look to bring back Bosk. You know, those two I think would be really awesome additions. But we did have a lot of Cad Bane in Book of Boba already, so maybe give him a little rest
But I'm there. I'm there with you, some of you people these days. So sorry for calling you stupid. There he is right there, green eyes and all. I love that they paid attention to detail and lit up his green eyes. But yes, 4-LOM is involved in the rooftop shootout. But who else? Who are the other bounty hunters and lowlifes? That'll be interesting to see. All right, here.
The yellow lightsaber person. Who is this?
I just caught their blaster bolt, but that is interesting, Nick. Do we know of anyone that predominantly had yellow blaster bolts in Star Wars? Because to me, they're usually blue or red.
Yeah, I haven't seen a yellow. I mean, I know that essentially the way things work is just based off of the color crystal that you put in there. So it may. I don't know. Maybe this is going to be like a featured bounty hunter where they're like, "Hey, look, this person's rocking a yellow bolt," and
it's definitely a blaster bolt. I just caught it in stream, but clearly that's Kenobi. And let's be honest here. Who let Kenobi leave planet in essentially his Jedi fucking robe? Like if you're trying to not look like a Jedi, why are you wearing a Jedi robe? I mean that's like the robe.
Yeah, I mean the long brown flowing robe with the hood is definitely
and like a
noticeable.
light tan tunic. I mean, you would think he would have just kept his blue garb from Tatooine. He looks more like a commoner in that than this shit. It's like, I'm gonna be sneaky and put on my Jedi robe again and wear my hood. Good job.
I don't know if like those have just become like if those were just like co-opted by like vagrants after the Jedi kind of fell aside.
We've seen some of the stills. He looks like a goddamn Jedi with his hood up. I mean, it's like is 10 years all the galaxy needed to forget what Jedi used to look like? I don't know. It seems like an odd costume choice when you're trying to remain low key and not let the galaxy know and everyone that wants to murder you that you are in fact a Jedi. But hey, it's Kenobi. He's got a big dick. Apparently, he's not scared of anything.
He's not worried about it. Yeah, he's like, you know what, bitch? Here we go.
It's unbelievable because we actually got a reveal of the first official action figure from Kenobi, and it is the off-world Kenobi, and he's looks like a Jedi. I mean, he doesn't have he now just has like a true tunic shirt that isn't like a fold over kimono or gi style. But he looks like a fucking Jedi with flood pants.
Yeah. With sweatpants. That was the addition.
Yeah. Here he is beating some people up. They weren't known bounty hunters. I mean, one of them was a male Zabrak. But these are, I guess, Nick, these would fall in the low life category and not the bounty hunter category. So, Reva's message definitely was heard.
Right. Yeah. Sent ripples throughout the galaxy.
All right. So here, Nick, this is probably why it's not Reva leaving in those shuttles, but this is clearly the hangar room on Ner. She's coming out. We get our first look at the redesigned Purge Troopers. Unfortunately, they were all pulled out shots, so you couldn't get great details.
Yeah, like good close-ups.
But it is the helmet to me, at least from what I can see, Nick, it almost looks like a First Order Snow Trooper helmet. You know how it kind of flares out a little bit?
Kind of like flares, at the bottom.
And then the mask, I'm thinking instead of the single visor, it looks like we now have individual eye holes, eye slits. Or look at me doing this on the stream. What the fuck am I doing? Like anyone that listens to this, you're never gonna see this, but I'm on the stream like people when you're little. You put your hands up to your eyes like they're binoculars. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But she's clearly coming out to confront something in an inquisitorious hangar. So that something is probably good guys doing shit that she doesn't like. So
yeah, I mean she's like saber ignited, ready to go. So there's at this point the alarm has been sounded.
Right.
Hey. Chicanery is happening on the fucking base.
I don't think they're being attacked by any resistance cells or anything. I think Kenobi and maybe one of his new friends, because let's be real, he's probably going to get mixed up with some of the resistance types out there. He's just Kumal being one of them. I mean, we know that's going to be Bail's contact for him to meet on Daiyu, and then we'll probably see things grow from there. But she's clearly looking to fight in the fortress hangar. All right?
Yep.
This is where things get interesting. This shot right here. So just hear me out, Nick. I might go on a little long here, but just kind of hear me setting this up. few things that we know for sure here. Kenobi is definitely on a desert planet, more than likely Tatooine. The fact that he's fighting Imperials on Tatooine leads me to believe that this is taking place after he has left Tatooine. So I'm almost thinking throughout his adventures, throughout all the kidnappings, someone, probably Reva, maybe Darth, figures out that there's something very important on Tatooine that Kenobi was protecting. And now he is back trying to defend those he was protecting. Because look, he's in that Jedi garb, which he is not wearing in the early scenes of the trailer. He's wearing his Tatooine look, the blue and the shawl and all that shit. There's a stormtrooper there. There's an IPD there. He's firing at something else. He is battling the Empire on Tatooine, which he would not do unless he had to, right?
Yeah. And it's like, what's weird to me is that, like, if this is after he's already left and then come back, I need to see how this plays out, because you would imagine that if they were having an outright fucking battle with a confirmed Kenobi on Tatooine,
the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, like then that would jack everything up for episode 4, because they would know, like, Tatooine needs to be staked at all fucking times. We should have people on that planet all the time. And so I wonder, like, where this falls in. Yeah, I mean, like, if it is after he comes back, that would be surprising.
Right? I mean, because why would he openly engage the Empire unless they were on the fucking farm? Right? I mean, that does him no good.
We've also never seen green plant life on Tatooine either, though. Like, if you look in the background, there are like full-on trees and shit.
I don't like, how many desert planets are they going to introduce? And so far they've told us they're introducing new, so that's
unlimited
Nur and Dayu. So I don't know. I'm not to me, it's the fact that his garb is different, which implies time has passed. For some reason, he's back on Tatooine. Does Reva find out the secret? And does she go there to dig in? And is that why he has to come back? Is this where they have their come to Jesus, where he's like, listen, motherfucker, you're fucked up. Those people have fucked you up. Hear me out. This kid needs protected. He is our savior. You can't do this. You can't do this, Reva. You were my sister, Reva. Something like that, right? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Could he be coming back because she found something out from the kidnappee?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, you're already, like, if we're already assuming that Reva and Kenobi have like a relationship prior to this, which is why she has a fixation, then it would make sense that she. Or,
you know, let's run with, hey, she does eventually get Leia and takes her to Nur and questions her and, you know, starts to get into her mind a little bit. You know, maybe Leia's like, oh yeah, I've this and that, my family, blah, blah, blah. And she's going, well, why would Kenobi come out of hiding for you? And then she starts connecting the dots. Like, if he's coming out for you, but he was hiding on Tatooine, what the fuck was keeping him on Tatooine? Let me go check that out.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe she has an interaction early with Owen that she's already suspicious of the Lars. And she's like, you know what? Ding, ding, ding. The young one, I talked to this, used the Force. I'm going back to Tatooine and checking out that fucking family. And Kenobi's like, fuck. Runs back, gets in the fight, maybe beats her down or tries to talk her down. And eventually, probably at the cost of her life, gets her to understand, like, listen, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and you can't do this. You can't turn over Luke. You can't give up his spot. Because if we do, those people that have made your life miserable, they win for sure. I don't know. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it's just like, I need to see how they're going to connect these two characters together. Unless, like, the reason that she is so fixated on Kenobi is because maybe she has like a closer relationship with Vader or something. Like maybe she's like one of Vader's favorite Inquisitors, and he's telling her, like, look, Kenobi is out there. I know that, like, right now, like, you know, we're telling people that he's dead. Everybody's dead. All the Jedi are dead. But I know that Kenobi's out there, and you need to be my eyes and ears on the field And
right.
But I can't see any other reason why like she would have a fixation on Kenobi.
Well, in some of the lighter leaks I have looked at, it does sound like we are going to get a damn near full arc for Reva, meaning potential flashback moments as through her Jedi-ism to the torture training with the Inquisitors, which hopefully, as Nick is saying, will kind of give us some insights into, okay, that now we get why she may be able to sense him and no one else can, and why she's got this hatred for him. Like I said, maybe it was him and Qui-Gon, or maybe just him he was a part of the envoy to take her from her family, because that's what they did. That is what the Jedi did. I mean, look what they did to poor Anakin, because he was 10. Fuck you, you suck, you're too old. We usually steal you when you're 1 or 2.
True. Yeah,
so
could be.
You're right. I mean, they do have to establish Reva's drive for Kenobi hatred for sure, because it does seem to be amped up over the other Inquisitors. Like, again, she can sense them, they can't. She's
especially
chasing.
If the narrative is like he's gone. If the narrative is like the brother says, like, oh, he's gone. Like, why do you care? Then like there is a specific reason why she is like still on her crusade.
Yeah. So I don't know. This shot it was very interesting to me, because I had to go like, all right, he's fighting Imperials on a desert planet. He's already in his secret garb, which is essentially Jedi Stylings 2.0. I mean, come on. Look, all he changed was his shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
He's got his fucking old robe on. He's like, hey, fuck it. It didn't burn up on Mustafar. It still works. I'll use it.
It's fine.
It's crazy. But,
he doesn't have a lot of expendable credits. He can't hit the outlets.
Exactly. Yeah. He wasn't quite as savvy as a scavenger as Rey ultimately becomes. And he only got, what's less, 1/8 portion. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't even earn 1/4 portion. He would always get 1/8 portion. But this seems fishy, and it does seem like this is post some adventures off planet, and now he is back trying to save his ass because the cat's out of the bag. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. But man, he sure likes whipping out blasters in these days, right? For them being so uncivilized, he doesn't seem to have an issue with them in his own series, do you, Obi-Wan? This is at least twice now we know he's going to have a blaster. He's turning into fucking Luke.
Yeah, that's why he thinks they're so uncivilized after having to use them so much. He's like, man, these fucking things suck. Aiming right at the guy. Can't even hit him.
So the next shot's moving on. We get another shot of this droid, who we do have a name for now, which we will... That's coming down the road. That's called a tease in the podcast business. It's to keep people on the line. But we got this robot again. And clearly, Nick, this robot is on the team of good, because we can now confirm that, because in the next shot, he is just gut punching a stormtrooper across a room. I mean, it's just like a punch and the guy goes flying. So there's a good chance this droid is either I was thinking it was going to be Kumal himself. That has been foiled. I lose again.
Yes.
But maybe it's in leagues with Kumal. Maybe it's with these resistance cells that they're more than likely going to run into. Because let's be real. Obi-Wan is going to get caught up in the resistance, the rebellion, the early movements. He's going to see what's going on. We've talked about that. Seeing just regular people rebel is going to help him get back to where he needs to be by the end of the series and have that hope and know what he needs to do. So he is going to be milling around with some good guys, or I guess rebel rousers in the eyes of the Empire. That the droid's definitely on the good guy side, no doubt about it. And we do know his name.
Or they hack it to be on the good guy side. Maybe fucking Kumal's character is like a slicer or something.
It is a completely, at least in my opinion, a new model of droid, but it does look, at least from the chassis, like just the chassis, its stomach, torso.
Yeah.
That looks very close to like a K2SO torso. But then it has, like man arms and that thick fucking like neck,
and so back.
Yeah, it would be as we say in the toy business, it is a heavily customized K2 droid. But definitely a good guy, and we'll learn his name shortly. Just stay on the line. All right, so the trailer then moves into some action, and we see Reva, her lightsaber is going, there's blaster bolts going, they're clearly still in the Inquisitor hangar. And I think in my breakdown, I was like, is this the beginning of her turn? Because if you notice from the first still we looked at, she's walking one direction, but now here she's almost looking back at her own forces. And you could almost argue in the quickness of the trailer that she's deflecting blaster bolts. So are the blaster bolts being deflected back at her own, or are those from our heroes trying to escape?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, honestly. I mean, you see the red blaster bolts streaking. Like maybe like those little shuttles had some sort of maybe it was just too late. They got out the shuttles. They had some sort of like guns on them, like self-defense turrets on there, and like they were just firing back at the station as they left, because they are out in the hangar in the open air space. So like, if we are right in assuming that those three shuttles that shot out the top were the good guys leaving, then her being on the hangar is not really going to give her an angle of approach at them. We would assume that those shuttles aren't taken off from that hangar.
So I guess at this point, since we see her here and we could almost connect the dots that this battle in the hangar is probably ultimately going to end in those things shooting out of the dick tip of the fortress, right? Like that is the happy ending of this fight. That she's probably not in one of them. So I don't know. I'm saying Leia, Kenobi, Kamal. Hell, maybe we haven't talked much about O'Shea Jackson. Maybe he's in one of the motherfuckers. Who knows?
I was gonna say O'Shea. I just don't think that Kenobi would ever put her in a shuttle and been like, good fucking luck. I hope you get there. Hope there's no ships out here that are gonna fucking chase you down.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, this is definitely. I'm excited for Fortress time.
Yeah.
Not so much listening to the Inquisitors, but whatever this little skirmish is going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty fun action event in the Kenobi series. And here he is right here. There is Kumal. So he is not the droid we're looking for. And really, from what we've been reading in the light leaks, he is going to be a good guy, but more of the scoundrel type. Maybe not full-on Han Solo actually working for scumbags, but definitely in that genre. And he explained it himself. He's like, listen, I'm playing an archetype of Star Wars that you've seen before. It's a little different. So he's more than likely going to be the contact that Kenobi touches base with, and things will probably grow from there. Like once you touch base with one Rebel Resistance type, you typically then get looped into the network.
Yeah.
But he's not a Jedi. I know he kind of looks like he's going tunic here, but this is not Nari. This is definitely Kumal, because we've learned that Nari is Benny Softy, and that's not Benny Softy. Hey, look at this. We talked about this little thing on last week's episode. I think we can say with 100% confidence, Nick, that this is the droid companion that we were talking about that young Leia is going to have in her possession as like her protector. Now, that's clearly not
definitely being held by
a
Reva, Inquisitor
right?
hand.
You think that's Reva? Yeah. So
yeah, they all wear black gloves, so it's a little hard to tell, but it's probably Reva.
It looks a little more feminine to me. I know things get dicey these days and with gender stuff, but I do think those look like female hands. So with that in tow, Nick, if Reva's holding Leia's droid, there is a good chance she eventually gets in possession of Leia herself. So that kind of goes back to some of my guesses here. Maybe she does ultimately get her after Kenobi frees her from that spice den we talked about many months ago. But that is the droid that it is pretty damn close to the batteries not included. But it has the Star Wars feel to it. I kind of dig it. I think this droid could be cool. I don't think it's going to be Grogu adorable cool, but I think it could be a nice little intro, a nice new droid character for Star Wars.
Yeah, if it doesn't get immediately fucking crushed.
All right, and then I think at this point, we see Reva running on this planet Daiyu, and she's saying, "You can't win, Obi-Wan. You can't escape him." Him obviously being
Vader,
the guy.
That's why I think that she's more interested in Kenobi, because Vader is probably like on her strings. Like, hey,
you would think that. Do you think the Inquisitors know that Vader is Anakin?
I don't think so, but I think that when Vader like specifically tells you as an Inquisitor, like, Kenobi's out there and I fucking want him, that sticks in your head.
Yeah, so you think that she's almost like a favorite, like it's one of Vader's.
Yeah.
Or Vader can sense something in her that he knows might be useful for Kenobi.
Yeah. Like, hey, not even Kenobi, like, hey, I might be able to take this girl. If she can help me get Kenobi, then she can help me take down the Emperor too.
Got you. Okay.
Like thinking long game.
You're right.
Maybe.
I mean, that's what Sith do. They're always trying to figure out how to kill their master.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. Vader has definitely wanted to do it. Hell, he wanted to do it with his son. I mean, that was his goal in Empire Strikes Back. And that's why in those comics, right when they picked up after Empire, Sidious dresses him down and then rips all of his appendages off.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, pal, I know what you were trying to do with your son. I'm not an idiot. I'm trying to do the same thing with him to get rid of you. I mean, let's be real. That was the dynamic between these two in the original trilogy. Vader was trying to take out Palpatine with Luke, and Palpatine was trying to replace Vader with Luke. He wanted the upgrade. He's like, Luke is what I signed up for and paid for 20 years ago until you got fucked up by your buddy Kenobi, you loser. But yeah, this segment here where she's screaming at him and running, this is all on Dayu, probably the very end of those shootouts and chases, and it does look like Kenobi is going to get away, probably a little scuffed up with the young princess, but clearly she's upset, like, you won this time, Kenobi, but you will not win the war, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to wonder, Nick. That isn't. You bring up an interesting point. Like if you have the fifth brother and the Grand Inquisitor thinking Reeve is crazy for thinking Kenobi's alive, does Vader also subscribe to that, or does he know he's alive and he's just letting his stooges figure it out at some point in time?
There's no way that he. If you're Vader, you have to believe he's alive because you see him walk off of Mustafar. Right. When you're fucking barbecuing on the ground.
No one has brought his carcass back in 10 years.
Like nobody's come out and said like, hey, got Kenobi.
Right.
One down. Like he's definitely still.
That's still, it's like, I know we've talked about this a million times. It's like, I really want this settled in the Kenobi series. Does Kenobi know of Darth Vader before literally Vader shows up? Has he heard about this menace over the past 10 years? And does he know that is indeed Anakin? Because we can't argue from Kenobi's perspective, he left thinking his homie was dead or was going to die.
Was roasted. Yeah.
But you would also have to think if he somehow gets the HoloNet in his cave or when he's tripping on mushrooms, he, like taps into it.
Yeah.
Is he able to, or is he like Ahsoka where, there's in the back of their head, they know it's Anakin, but with the rest of their mind, they're trying to convince themselves that it's not.
Yeah, I think that he for sure knows of Vader. Like, okay. I think that's like, it's out there. Like it's out there too much for him to even like be able to deny that he knows who Vader.
Yeah, okay.
He knows of Vader, but I don't
agree.
think he knows who. I don't think he knows it is Anakin at the beginning, at least. I think he will.
Are you saying like
that.
At all, or do you think he's being a little ignorant like Ahsoka was, where it literally took breaking his mask for her to finally go, fuck?
I think it might be in the back of his head initially, but like he will come to know for certain that it is.
Oh, you know what? I think you may be right, because I believe in Rebels, the way they portray it, Ahsoka definitely knew of Vader, but it wasn't until he was in like a dogfight with Phoenix.
She could tell.
She was like, whoa, this one pilot, there's something familiar, almost like Vader. Like, I haven't felt this presence since. It's like that. It's like she kind of knew, but she didn't want to fully acknowledge it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Kenobi, I'm with you. It's like until he's in his vicinity to where his force antenna, he's probably not going to know 100%. But because I swear I read somewhere, and this isn't a spoiler because clearly we know they meet again. But I read somewhere that there's like a line where Kenobi says like, "Oh my God, what have they done to you?" Like just like a sad like, "Oh Jesus, Anakin,
yeah,
what have they done to you?" Like that.
So it's probably similar to Ahsoka's journey with Anakin, where she's like, "Okay, like I know who Vader is." And then she starts to like pick up like maybe this is, and then finally like
the way he flies and like their Force identity, it's just too much, and they have to finally accept it. Like, this is our guy, this motherfucker that's been terrorizing the galaxy. We're directly responsible. We not so much Ahsoka, but Obi-Wan for sure. And I do hope that line is corrected because Ewan will deliver it beautifully. Like, God damn, man, like Anakin. What did they do to you? Like a true sense of sadness. Like, my friend, fuck, this is what I left you to. I should have stabbed your fucking head. I should have decapitated
pushed you in that lava, like something.
It's like, next time I'll know to give you that little kick roll in, buddy. Sorry about that. So I'm dying to see that shit. And speaking of that shit, we did get him in the trailer. I know it's just body parts. But I love that they're showing us like his routine. This is what we talked about. And we're now looking at the shot of Vader's crispy arm. Look, it's still nice and crispy. They didn't even try to heal him. They didn't even try to like fix his skin. They're just like, fuck you, keep burning alive. Screwing his arms back in for, before he has his Folgers. Another shot of the brother here on Nur. Like I said, Nur looks like it's going to play a major role in the Kenobi series, like a major setting, one that we will be seeing a lot. Here's if you're on the stream or if you're listening, we're now looking at a shot of the hangar again on Nur, and you do get a little better view of the new Purge Troopers. And like I said, their helmets there's some Vader in there, right? I mean, there's a little Vader aesthetic to the Purge Trooper helmets. And it does. Yeah,
I mean, the smooth kind of finish with the flare out at the bottom definitely harkens to.
And it almost looks like the eyes, and I still can't see them that well, but they almost look like they're going to be in the shape of the Mud Trooper goggles from Solo.
Yeah,
where they're still kind of Stormtrooper eye-ish, but not completely.
Bigger. Yeah,
and then Reva is there in front of them leading. We always just have to look at Kenobi and Ewan just to honor him. Looking good. This was one of my favorite shots of the trailer, and if you're listening, it's a shot of Vader getting his I don't know his
control
his control plate, and I never realized this. They literally insert it into his abdomen. It's not like just something hanging on his suit, because that's what I always thought it was. It gets fucking plugged into his stomach with spikes that are like 4 inches long. Oh, and the other thing, I never knew he wore like that body armor over his skin. See that, like, he's got like straps on. It almost looks like a Kevlar vest or something.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say, like a fiber weave kind of vest. Yeah,
but Jesus, just every day. This is his every day. No wonder he wants to kill everybody.
I was gonna say, I'd be pissed too. It's like, fuck, man. Why I gotta do this?
But I think really the best moment where the last 10, 15 seconds, you're seeing Vader getting rebuilt. We get a direct nod to his coming to life moment in Revenge of the Sith, where it's the way I explained it in my breakdown, it sounds like an old camera flash going off. Like when his life support comes on, it's like that. Bing!
Yeah.
And then he takes that, and then it ends on the shot of Kenobi almost in a meditative stance, looking like, oh shit. So I guess we'll end on that shot of Kenobi, Nick, he's in his garb, so he's off Tatooine. It looks like he's on a ship, almost in a cargo area. So could this be the moment where Vader kind of comes down on him with a platoon of stormtroopers or purge troopers and maybe wins the first little battle of the Kenobi Vader rematch?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell, but like maybe this is just him. Like this is the first time that he's left Tatooine, and he's like contemplating like what this means, because he does, like you said, he's in like a very like stern, thoughtful pose.
You know what else could be? This could be coming out of a flashback sequence, right?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
You know, just the way they have it lit and the way he opens his eyes. You could almost envision, like, before this moment where he opens his eyes, because we're assuming Vader is coming, even though I think the trailer just cut it that way. Maybe he is thinking about Anakin or the old days or Qui-Gon, and then he opens his eyes right before the Vader attack. So it kind of plays into this is how we used to be as friends, and now this is what we're going to get into as enemies. We can't even call them frenemies at this point in time, because Vader clearly hates Obi-Wan's guts. And even by A New Hope, he still very much wanted to murder him. Like, there's no doubt about it. I mean, so there you go. That is the trailer breakdown. Hopefully you got some new insights out of it that you may not have picked up on. I think some of the new speculation that you can, those of you that like keeping score for us and write down, I think Kenobi is going to return to Tatooine in an attempt to stop Luke from being fully outed, probably from Reva. Now, how she gets there, I think it's going to be a combination of her just being around Kenobi and they're talking, but also the fact that she's holding Leia's droid just leads me to believe that she is going to, at one point in time, come in direct contact with the princess and probably either shake her down or at least infer some information from her.
Yeah.
We're going to have a rescue not only on Daiyu, but also it looks like now on Nur. Kumal is going to be part of Team Good Guys, although he's going to, you know, kind of have that little that scoundrel feel to him. Mm-hmm. The droids is going to be on the good guys, and we are going to get more bounty hunters than Forlom. I think that's most of the new stuff we covered here.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
So first 2 episodes again should be heavy. Kenobi is depressed. Inquisitors show up. The Larses hate him. Bail shows up. We got to save her. We go to Daiyu. We save her because such a big fucking commotion. Now the whole galaxy knows I'm out and about. We get mixed up with the Resistance. Vader finds us. We lose Leia. We have to go get Leia again. Reva heads to Tatooine to try and find why Obi-Wan was there. Obi-Wan cuts her off. She gives him key information. Obi ends up with the final duel between Vader, which kicks both of their asses, but Kenobi comes out on top clearly. There you go. That's my synopsis of the series based on trailers and some of the early leaks that we read. So I did cheat a little bit, but I have not tapped into anything that Making Star Wars has put out over the last 2 weeks, because he's giving up the good stuff. If you're into that, and I am, I'm telling you, it sucks to not just dive in, because I want to know, but I also know as a fan, even the freak that I am and wanting to be a know-it-all, it's still better to let things play out without knowing every damn card in the deck.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson the hard way on The Rise of Skywalker. I think that's one of the reasons I hate that fucking movie the most out of the sequel trilogies, because not only did I hate some of the main narrative choices, I knew every fucking thing. There wasn't one surprise. I knew the Chewie switch, all that, and every fucking thing. So I have tried on Kenobi to get enough to be entertaining and insightful on the show, but not so much that I'm going to ruin my own experience. But I do think someone remind me, maybe in the Discord, to come back to this episode, because this is where I kind of laid down my most broad prediction. We'll kind of see how it plays out. And if I win, we'll make sure to celebrate Naboo style with the Gungans. Someone get the drums and trumpets. You know what I mean? Dun, dun. You guys know what I mean. I'm not that crazy.
All right. I'm going to go hit the bathroom real quick. You start them off with this new
young Nick
Inquisitor
is no longer
update.
so young.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this will be a quick one, because this was just, we finally have some confirmation. Put out a little YouTube video. If you want some more insights into it, make sure to check it out, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. In fact, if you're watching this episode right now and you are not subscribed, please take the half a second to click on that sub button, leave a comment, even if it's negative. All right? We love you. So, if you remember during the first trailer, I identified a mysterious Inquisitor. It was the female. She kind of had that skull cap on and these little tentacles coming out of her head, and it just wasn't clear who she was. She clearly wasn't the second sister or third sister or seventh sister. They've all been established. And she wasn't a brother. So I was like, well, who is this? Is this the first sister? Is it the fourth sister? And I even went and looked, and there was some stuff on the fourth sister. So I'm like, yeah, it can't be the fourth sister. She already has something. Well, guess what? The mysterious Inquisitor, the other female that we've seen in the trailers, is indeed the fourth sister. And here's the deal. She is the real fourth sister. Because if you're here on the live stream and you look at the thumbnail of my video breakdown, you can see a comic panel. And that is the fourth sister. But apparently in the comic, it's just the fourth sister's armor that a rebel lieutenant or a commander took to infiltrate Vader's castle. So the other female Inquisitor is indeed the fourth sister. She is being played by where the hell was the name here? Raya.
Her name is Raya Kilstedt.
She's a fucking Viking, which is awesome. Her and Skarsgård are probably running around, slitting throats. Drinking blood, chewing on necks, all that fun stuff. But Nick, as you return, just for your own edification, the other female Inquisitor is indeed the fourth sister. Okay?
Yes.
So we've got that confirmed now. So the only number we do not know for sure, and I guess we just have to assume that the first brother is probably the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he would. If you're first, right? Then you're the head honcho.
Yeah, you call yourself Grand
instead of being first. You're just the Grand. Yeah,
right.
Makes
so,
sense.
Yep, she is the fourth sister. Appeared in a comic, but it wasn't her. It was a rebel lieutenant commander or commander that stole her armor to try and infiltrate Vader's fortress. So there we go. And like I said in the breakdown, knowing is half the battle.
That's right.
G.I. fucking Joe. Hey, look, do you think, if you're on the live stream, do you think I indulged in Star Wars Day? Look at all the Rock'em Socks Star Wars ads on the site right now. It's like, come on, man. Look at that. Oh, Lego ads. What else is on here? Probably One Wheel at some point in time. Those are my cookies for this past week, my friends.
All of my ads are the companies that I work for.
Gotcha.
So I don't get to see cool ads most of the time because it's like I work for two clothing brands that are more focused towards women, and I work for a jewelry / accessory
you're getting
brand.
Like Lululemon ads and shit, right?
Basically. And then I just signed a fourth client that is skincare. It's a skincare brand. So,
dude, at this point, that's Nick may need to hire one of you motherfuckers out there.
That's what. If I told myself if I ever get 5 clients,
you're starting to turn into a company. You know that, like you.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I could form an LLC at any point and actually just be a company, but I didn't want to. I held off on doing that. No, I'm saying you're doing good enough, and you have enough clients that you could start really building a book of business and become boss Nick instead of boss Nass. You know what I mean? I don't know. See.
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for you. Like I said, I mean, he told me what he clears with 4 or 3 clients. So that's why I said bringing on a fourth. I mean, Jesus, this kid's going to be driving Teslas and Lambos by next year.
I don't know about that.
Hey, good for you. You got to get it the way you got to get it, and it's always best when you're doing it on your own time and
when you do it by yourself, it always.
That's right.
Yeah. Feels better.
Okay, so as I teased earlier, and I love paying off on my teases, that's how we roll here. We don't like jerking your chain like a Mike Zero and those other jerk-offs. Like, according to Mike Zero last week, who's getting fired? Oh, yeah, Pedro Pascal has been fired.
Pedro Pascal.
And Carl Urban is taking over the role of Din Djarin. So if you like that type of content, you're in the wrong place, because we're not jerk-offs. Sadly, not being a jerk off is why we're also not that popular, but we've learned that lesson. And my man Perfected Chaos, he's always in the chat. He kind of had a heart to heart with me last week. He's like, listen, man, you guys are great. You deserve to be better. He's like, you got to stop shitting on yourself. and opening the show saying this podcast sucks and we suck and you blow. Because he's like, honestly, if I hear that from other people, I just tune out. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good point. He's like, start doing shorter content. And Chaos, one video worked, but as luck has it, no other ones did. So I still feel like we are a cancer, but I hear you and we speak your name. Speaking of names, Nick, I have 2 of them to reveal. Like I said, got to pay off on the T's here. And thanks to a Lego set, we now know the name of the robot we just talked about, the beefy one, the one that fights for the good guys, and Indira Varma's character, who I also believe is going to be helping out the good guys at some point in time. We've seen her in those Imperial officer digs, but I have a feeling she is either a double agent or eventually is just like, you know what, enough is enough. We're building things that are going to blow up planets. We execute people left and right. I need to get out of here and help the good guys. Yeah. So I did a short for this. I'd love for you to check it out, give us some views. But the droid's name is going to be, and it's a good one, NED-B. Ned B. Ned B, the droid that likes to punch stormtroopers in the face. So we can all get behind Ned B.
Yep.
And then Indira's character apparently is going to be named Tala Durith. Tala Durith. And the reason we figured those out, and this is interesting, the fact that these characters are getting minifigures for the Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader diorama Lego set leads me to believe that Tala and Ned somehow either help Kenobi get to the final battle, or this is supposed to take place on Mustafar's moon, by the way. So it's almost like maybe Tala's the one that gets Kenobi there and reveals Vader's location, or Ned, and they roll together. But you typically don't get minifigures in a set like this unless they are involved in the set itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So it'll be interesting to see how that breaks down, because I mean, it looks like the scene that we saw Ned in, he looks like he's in a mine. Like you can look above him and there's mine lights above him. He's surrounded all by like craggy red rocks and stuff like that. So I wonder where, like, there's no fucking way that this happens on Tatooine. No. I'm just going to put it out there.
The rematch is not happening on Tatooine. No, I said, I think it's a light spoiler, but just in case, the final rematch, and we were the ones that provided the leak, months and months and months ago, that Obi-Wan and Vader are going to interact more than just once. Remember, we explained it as similar to the Phantom Menace with Darth Maul, where, Qui-Gon and him have a little dust up, and then they have the big battle. Same thing's going to happen here, but it sounds like in the initial dust up, Vader is going to get the upper hand and actually wound our guy. And that's why he needs to, get his head out of his ass. And we talked about he's going to have these flashbacks where he's remembering him and Anakin and sparring and trying to remember openings in Anakin's defenses, this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like this Imperial officer being played by Indira and maybe even the droid, they're ultimately going to be responsible or helping him get to the final duel location. The other sets revealed was the Inquisitor Scythe, and it's coming with some kick-ass minifigures too. I mean, honestly, I like Legos. I got a bunch for Star Wars Day. I think those new dioramas are kick-ass. They got the Trench Run. They got Dagobah. But these sets, Nick, they just sound like they have some fantastic minifigures, and sometimes that is enough for me just to get a set. I love Lego minifigs. Lego Star Wars minifigs are some of my favorite things on the planet, and maybe I should shoot them one day. But either way, I like Lego minifigures, and I think these Kenobi sets are going to have some great ones. All right, buddy. So we got some pretty cool news yesterday, at least a confirmation post.
Yes.
The man's hat was on the chair. The chair was there with the name. And the name we are referring to is none other than Miss Ahsoka. So
yes.
Why are we talking about the orange one today, my friend?
It is officially yesterday started production on Ahsoka. So it's official. There's no leaks. There's no cryptic tweets. There's no, rumors going about. This is straight from Star Wars themselves.
Right.
Ahsoka started production yesterday, and it was a very poignant little image that you see there. The what some people call like the director's chair, but it's just like a set chair. Ahsoka on the name on the back of the chair, and then Mr. Filoni's hat hanging there off the side. So it started. It is official.
Yeah, it also looks like Filoni got himself a new hat. That hat's looking pretty fucking fresh,
Looks clean. I don't know if do you think he has a hat cleaner? Do you think he's at that level yet where he's like, look, man, I wear one hat, but it's got to stay
honestly,
fresh.
I think he's at a level now where he could have a whole hat wing of his house. You know what I mean? And just kind of like some people collect shoes. Maybe he does it with cowboy hats and Pittsburgh gear. That's the other thing I love about watching the behind the scenes. And, the narcissist in me believes if I could just have a casual interaction with Dave Filoni, I feel like we could be friends at the end because we're both Pittsburgh boys. We both love the sport still. I mean, he's wearing he's got like Pirates, Penguins gear, Steelers gear, and all this behind the scenes stuff. It's just, I don't know. There's some with Pittsburgh that it does to people that were born there and it stayed there for many years. Look at Ming-Na Wen. I mean, she's the same way. She's hardcore Pittsburgh. I haven't lived in Pittsburgh since 94 and I still consider it my fucking hometown. I've lived in Columbus longer than Pittsburgh. I'll never consider Columbus where I'm from or where I'm a Pittsburgher. But anyways, like I said, the asshole in me feels like if I could see Dave and not approach him like, oh, I love you, Star Wars, and just casually talk about Pittsburgh and then get into, hey, I like Star Wars, and that maybe I could be working on Ahsoka by the end of the summer. You never know.
Maybe.
That's why I need to go to Celebration, hobnob with the big guys. So, yeah, you know what this means? It doesn't mean jack shit, but it does mean we're getting Ahsoka in 2023 for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also means that we may start getting an influx of leaked set picks and all kinds of other stuff,
which is good. I don't mind leaked set picks, and I do.
Set picks are okay.
I do like leaks to a point, but when it really starts getting into full on plot dumps, it's like, all right, okay, let's leave a little bit to the speculative mind. Yeah, I mean, come on,
a little too far.
You got to dig. The guy also has an obsession with wolves, and he's got that little pin on the hat. So he always comes correct.
Yeah, I think that's why the wolves were the leaders into the world between worlds.
Of course, man. All the Loth wolves, of course. You're 100% correct. I mean, Captain Wolf, Plo Koon. Plo Koon's his favorite, and that's why he looped him up with Captain Wolf. And I think they're like the wolf fucking division or something like that. So who knows? But yeah, you got Video Village there. It doesn't look like IT had anything set up. There was nothing on the screen. Trust me, I stared at it for a while to see.
Yeah, I was like looking at the image. I was like, is there anything else in here that I could possibly pull out?
Did their social media intern fuck up? But no, they did not.
Yeah,
so.
they did. They picked a good shot. Yeah, because it's just basically just on like a blank screen that is totally indecipherable in the background and nothing else is happening on the set. So.
You know what else? I know I'm retreading here, but they literally shot Book of Boba Fett on the back lot. Like those massive city scenes, like the finale battle, that was all done on like a baby ass lot, like a tiny ass something you could have like, like a parking lot at a Walmart. And that's where they did all that. That's impressive. I know, we bitched about, we bitched about Rodriguez and some of the visuals he brought, but considering what they gave him to work with, maybe give him, not beat him on the head so hard. They're like, here, dude, here's a parking lot. Make it look like Tatooine and have a big battle with a Rancor in it. Oh, you know who showed up in the BTS? Brian Sipe, one of our guests. You could see him in there putting the makeup on Tem. And then remember, Brian said that they made the Rancor. And they really did use like a practical fucking Rancor head. There's a good moment in there with that. All right. So yeah, Ahsoka's up and running. I bet they shoot probably into the fall. I could see this thing wrapping around October, November, something like that. And then, I don't know, maybe Ahsoka, if they're getting it done now, which is similar to when they shot Kenobi last year, maybe Ahsoka becomes the May-June show of 23.
Could be. Yeah. That lines up pretty nicely. So hopefully all goes well with filming and they don't need to do pickups or a bunch of reshoots, anything like that. But I don't imagine so. It seems like there haven't been any sort of like filming or production issues with these TV shows so far.
Gina Carano problems or issues like that. I mean, at this point in time, it's been long enough the way this world is. They probably could bring Gina back in and no one would give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, the world has moved on to obsessing over something else stupid. All right, so before we get into this week's fan segment, real quick, we will talk a little bit about the Star Wars Day 2022 offerings, just in case you forgot some. The one reminder I do want to let everyone know about is that don't forget tomorrow, May the 11th. So if you're listening to this on podcast platforms, that means that day. But May the 11th is when the first official Obi-Wan Kenobi figure from Obi-Wan Kenobi goes on sale. Sadly, because Hasbro seems to not really give a fuck about Star Wars fans anymore, you probably won't get this figure until next year, which is odd. Or if you live somewhere where Hasbro feels like shipping figures a year early. You just never know. So all I can tell you is the Kenobi figure, which does look all right for a Black Series figure. He goes on sale for pre-order May 11th, most retailers. In terms of what stood out to me on Star Wars Day, Nick, none of the Black Series figures really did much for me. In fact, they're not even in the post anymore because Landspeeder Luke deleted his graphic and I didn't feel like replacing it. So I'll just move on to what stood out to me and what I did pre-order, and that is the new Black Series Darth Vader helmet with red eyes. Now that
that's a pretty helmet.
Oh, yeah, dude,
for sure. And the level of detail is nuts. You get the entire inside. You get the entire
the
back.
helmet comes off, so you can actually see the mask, and it looks like the circuitry's in there, all the bells and whistles. And after getting that Boba Fett Black Series helmet, I think I may be a fan of this line now. So instead of buying fucking Black Series figures, maybe I'll start getting a few more helmets. Definitely plunk some money down on the Darth Vader, though. And here's Nick. You never know. But they also introduced the Kenobi Black Series lightsaber. So
these are always hard for me because I think I've gotten the last two because I got the Rey, I got the Sidious, and then I got a Leia. I didn't get the Leia one that they released from here because I got a Leia saber from Disney Parks.
You pretend got the Revan one.
Yeah, I had the Revan one until Amazon decided. That's what my shirt's about. That I wore the first time that Hadrian sent it to us. Yeah, fucked up. But it's hard because right now, I mean, like you guys could see behind me to some degree, but like I don't have a fucking ton of space left in this room.
Well, good thing you're planning on upgrading, right? So now when you design your bigger and better house, you might as well just design a collectibles room at this point.
I was gonna say, like we do have a media room that will be an actual media room that we're actually planning on putting like
screen,
try to put a projector in there.
Look, see, I told you, motherfuckers. This guy's living large. Watch out. We'll never divulge his address, all right? We got to keep him safe.
But we will have like a real media room. So I'll see if there's like going to be, if I can make some space in there, either like try to figure out a way to like hang them, like display them on the wall or something like that. But we'll see.
I'm not going to lie, man. I'm looking at this Kenobi hilt right now, and it's a pretty damn sexy looking saber.
It looks really nice.
I've always liked his because his always looked like it was burnt, right? I mean, his wasn't. It wasn't shiny like Anakin's or Qui-Gon's, or even aluminum looking like his Padawan saber. I mean, it looks dirty and grungy and almost that like gunmetal pewter type of color.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it! If I keep looking at it and talking about it, I could very well be pre-ordering this motherfucker at the end of the show.
That's why I'm like trying. That's why I'm like scrolling down the page. I'm like, let me look at something else because I may fucking order this thing.
You're right, dude. I'm getting a little itchy here for that lightsaber.
Yeah, right.
So okay, moving on. But not that these help me at all because Hot Toys showed off some of their Attack of the Clones line. And I'm not going to lie, some of them are speaking to me. Even this C-3PO, which is actual die-cast.
Let me toss something out to you. Does he look cross-eyed to you?
Yeah, and
his eyes look like they're too close together.
Yeah, that first shot looks like he had too many cans of oil or something at one point in time.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think his eyes may just be too close together or something, because when the first time I looked at it, I was like, why does he look fucking cross-eyed?
Well, Anakin never did truly finish his build. This is probably true. Owen's shoddy work or Klieg. I don't know, man. Like, he's C-3PO. It's like, all right, whatever. You either love him or hate him or just deal with him. But this figure, especially with the Geonosian battle droid head attachment.
B1 head, yeah.
I don't know. So it's and like I said, it's die-cast, Nick. So it's like fucking metal. Yeah. It's not just plastic.
It's probably going to be heavy as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a C-3PO. I do have an R2, which also is getting released. So, I can kind of justify not getting the R2. But even the R2, I'm like, oh. But then there's this clone pilot. And like, I don't have a clone pilot. Look how cool his fucking helmet looks. I might need a clone pilot. He comes with 2 cool looking helmets. So I haven't pre-ordered any of these yet. I've learned with Sideshow to just fucking wait for a while. Maybe they'll kick you a $25 coupon. And really, these days, it's like with the pandemic and how it fucked up the global supply chain, everything takes a year or more to get, especially with these high-end collectibles. So it's like, whatever, maybe if I sit, I can trick myself into not pre-ordering them. Because I'll tell you what, dude, I've almost stopped buying small figures. But there's been some months recently where a lot of these Sideshow payment plans hit the Discover card, and I look at them like,
you're like,
what am I doing to my life? Like, that
what is happening?
I could have bought a one wheel out of pocket right there, but it's fucking down payments on 7 Hot Toy figures. So that's where I kind of get the doucheness. Like, fuck, can I just stop buying the Star Wars stuff for now? The passion's clearly dying. The photography's not happening. What am I doing? But I'm not gonna lie, man. These Attack of the Clone Hot Toys are. It's that completionist thing, but they're also pretty fucking cool looking. Even the B1 looks cool because he's got the C-3PO head. The silly hijinks in the Droid Factory where they switch heads, and I know it's kind of a lame part of the movie, but it looks fucking great as a figure.
It's still funny.
Yeah.
Still looks
so
cool.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I can pass on the Phase 1 Clone Trooper, though, because I technically have one of those through the 501 Deluxe set that recently released. I know it's not pure white, so there's a little, itchiness there, because mine has like a blue stripe, but I think I can get away with not getting that one.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
But the R2, I'm not going to lie, my R2 is a Sideshow R2 and not a Hot Toys R2, which means it's subpar. So
you've already talked yourself into it, Matt. You've already done it.
But look, Nick, look at him. If I get him and C-3PO, I can reenact the scene of him dragging his head across the arena floor. Come on, man.
You could.
Because all the toy pictures I take these days.
And look at all that shit that pops out of
I know. Like,
that's fucking crazy.
That right there. If I tried to get all those attachments on, I'd probably throw them across the room. So maybe I shouldn't go for this one.
Yeah, that would be broken so fast.
Yeah, his tweezers wouldn't go in the first time. I'd be like, motherfucker! I'd like jam it in and snap it in half, which would then break 3 of the other attachments. So yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I should scroll away from this. But man, that's a good looking R2. He's got that dirt to him. My R2 is kind of clean looking. Man, I wish I was like one shooter and could just stick to one figure here. But even Bat's right in the live stream, because if you looked in some of the glamour shots, you saw a Mace Windu and a B2 battle droid, and those to me are must-haves. So if you have a B2, Nick, you got to get a B1, right?
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
That's enough of this shit. And then finally, if you're into Cos Babies, which I used to be into, at least the Funko variant, there is a new Mandalorian. I sound like Bobo from the Howard Stern show. But those are out there. They do look great. I could just never.
It's a cute line.
I could never really find Cos Babies easy when I was into the super deformed chibi style look. But yeah, those are neat too. So all this shit, at least the Hot Toys, they're all available for pre-order, at least at Sideshow. I'm sure at the other places where you actually get 1/6 scale figures from Hot Toys in a timely fashion, which I can't say for Sideshow. I have like 4 or 5 of my dolls just sitting there, not shipping for whatever fucking reason. So Oh well, one wheel's coming Friday. That'll keep me happy.
Yeah. Next week, Matt will show up with a fucking bandage on his head.
No, I'll be sitting here like Stephen Hawking talking through a computer. I'll be like, I'll be sitting here like moving my mouth, and then Nick will hear, well, Nick, we are. Hey, now, welcome to the Star Wars Time Show. I am your host, Matt. This is your co-host, Nick. We are here to talk all things Star Wars time. So, yeah, you never know, man. All right, I'm going to hell now. Okay. All right, buddy. We've hit the 2-hour window. You got 30 minutes left. We're doing good. So it's time for the fan segment. No game this week because, Nick has guests. And
I have to do some last minute prep.
And if we've hit the 2-hour mark, which means no game. So you're not going to get my cocky ass winning yet again this week, but maybe next week, which is probably going to be my last show before I leave. Who knows? The week of Celebration Kenobi, I'm thinking about taking it off. But if it's shitty weather at the beach, maybe I'll ring in and do a quick one with Nick. But for now, it's time to start to put episode 212 to bed by kicking off this week's fan segment. 2 methods to get involved. The first, question of the week. Every Tuesday, we post the question on our Instagram account at Star Wars Time Show. Check our stories, check the posts, leave a comment, and you may get it read on the show. Just be forewarned, we read them as written, and if you write it like you never went to school, we will probably imply that in our breakdown. The second way to get involved we'll talk about shortly, but that is the top 5. But before that, question of the week time. All right, let's get the screen switched up. Browser window.
Switching it up.
Question of the week. Where's my Slack-a-doo?
The question is, for those of you who did not pay attention to the IG, is would you ever want a Star Wars story to delve into the multiverse or time travel?
Okay, real quick. I do acknowledge that Star Wars has dabbled in time travel through the World Between Worlds, but it is a very Star Wars-y take on time travel. So for some reason, my brain was a little dead when I posed the time travel part. But let's see what they had to say.
Think more on the multiverse angle.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like we haven't really got into
what did the community have to say here? Let's get
it was glaringly negative, but we'll read them out.
I'll start with Rippick, and then you rip through the other ones, okay? All right, Rippick made the cut again. He just always drops them in the stories, and I see him, and
he's always very eloquent.
Yeah, I kind of like the angle, so I guess we are playing favorites a bit. Sorry, everybody. All right, so here's what Rippick says in Rippick's written response. Don't think I'd be into that, although I do enjoy the World Between Worlds arc in Rebels. Picture me as Gandalf saying to all future writers, there are many magic temples in Star Wars, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly. Side note, I'd like to throw my hat in the speculation ring. I saw that people are pointing Cad Bane out in some Kenobi pictures. I think if he is in the show, he and Kenobi might work together this time. Given their history throughout Clone Wars, Bane might have a lot of respect for Kenobi at this point, and he was unhappy that Boba worked for the Empire in Book of Boba. Plus, that could explain a bit more why the Empire didn't invite Cad to the original Bounty Hunter social in ESB. Look at this guy. He's taking advantage of Question of the Week to get his own little podcast in.
Yeah. Trying to get... I mean, honestly, it's not a bad take. I wouldn't say.
And really, I think Nova was the one that brought up the one image. It was an official shot from one of the magazines, and it really did look like a Cad Bane silhouette on Dayu.
Yeah, I remember it. It also could just be anybody wearing a hat like that. It's hard to tell. I'll put it that way. It's hard to tell, but I do think that they have kind of busted their Cad wad with.
Yeah,
Boba,
I mean,
so maybe
like Nova said in the live stream, they already got the makeup and the build, and they know how to do live action Cad. But I don't know. It's like I said, it's like, okay, hold them back. Kind of like Luke. Maybe once a year, you roll them out of the closet, and there you go. Have fun. There's Cad. Plus, you're more than likely going to get a lot of animated Cad back in the Bad Batch. I just have a feeling. The way things went down in season 1 between him and the Batch, him and Omega, him and Fennec, you never know. Plus, there's always that angle in Bad Batch of the Fett family tie. They have to explore that. How do you have Fett's fucking twin sister out there and they don't interact? But anyways, there you go, Rippick. You even got your own little opinion moment on the show.
Mini segment.
Okay.
There you go. All right. Next up is Scion XTC. He says, I don't think it's necessary for Star Wars to go into a multiverse or time travel based storyline. It just wouldn't make sense. Now, what would be interesting is taking some of the old comics and books and turning them into a what if like mini series on Disney Plus. Some stories like what if Luke went to the dark side or Vader didn't die and went to the light side. I do like that angle. I like the what if angle. Because there is so much rich history and lore that's in Legends that obviously doesn't count as canon, but that's what the whole thing about the What If series for Marvel was. And
now like some of the What If is becoming canon in Marvel. That's the funny part. Yeah, like I don't want to say anything, but let's just say there is plenty of What If payoff in Doctor Strange 2. Like, as in your face fan service as it gets, man. It's like there was Charlie's. She witnessed it a bit at Spider-Man: Far From Home, like some of the big cheers when the other Spider-Men were revealed. But in Doctor Strange, where some of the fan moments happened, and people were literally like, "Yeah!" clapping hands. She was getting up, looking behind her, like, "Hey, what the fuck's wrong with you people?
What's happening?"
Yeah. This guy's always yelling at me to be quiet, and you motherfuckers are cheering in here like we're at a sports game. It was funny. I was like, it's okay. It's a fan thing.
It's like well, eventually you will figure that
out. I loved What If Marvel, and I would completely be down with What If Star Wars. In fact, they dabbled in it a bit in the Lego Halloween special that released in 21. There is a story where Luke does end up joining the Empire as a TIE fighter pilot. So
there you go.
Yeah. So, no,
that's what I was going to say. I think that they dabbled in a little bit with the Lego stuff too, because even like the Lego holiday special, I think did a lot of like time travel-y stuff with Rey and
I mean they pulled in they had the hello there circle jerk at one point. You had all three versions of Kenobi just going hello there, hello there, hello there. So yeah, man, you gotta love Lego Star Wars. I love it. So good one there, Scion. I like that idea.
Indeed. Next up, Tones 1138,
Mr. Backshift.
Yes, says absolutely not. However, with the world between worlds, it's possible they may go down that route. I truly hope not, as that's not what Star Wars is about. Yeah, I mean, safe take. That's kind of like what everybody has kind of felt is like. No for Star Wars, but multiverse is kind of cool.
It's like I get it. You know, multiverse just doesn't seem Star Wars appropriate, but we do technically have time travel, and it works in a Star Warsy way. I mean, if you remember how it was used during the fight between Ahsoka and Vader, you know, they're fighting and shit happens, and we do see her kind of limp and walk away into a temple, but you don't know how she got away from that fight with Vader. The way they show that is through the world between worlds, where Ezra literally reached through the portal as it was about to fall on her, pulled her through. They're running around, because then you got like Sidious fucking sending blue flame at him in the back end of the world. And then he again takes her back to that time portal, throws her through. That's how she kind of gets hurt. I think she actually gets hit by a blaster bolt or something, which then explains how a season or two before why we saw her walking away with a limp. So whatever. But I'm kind of with people too. It's like it has technically dabbled in time travel, but the multiverse does just not seem like a good fit for Star Wars. So who is next here?
Yeah. All right. TBS Data Vault says, I think that a Star Wars multiverse would just serve to cheapen the impact of some of the greatest moments in franchise history. It would also weaken the impact or momentum of any new story set up, knowing that with the snap of a finger, everything could change. I don't know if that's a reference to Endgame. or to Infinity Wars and stuff like that. But anyway, with that being said, I wouldn't mind minimal use of the world between worlds to, quote, fix the sins of the sequel trilogy. This was actually a popular take as well. Like carving out a new path for legacy characters and reintroduce Rey, Finn, Poe, Kylo with a better sense of direction, intentionality, and purpose. I'm just going to give you a heads up. That's never going to happen. Like,
I mean, listen,
if you think that they're going to use the world between worlds to rewrite 3 movies, it's not going to happen. What they're going to do to try to fix those movies is they're going to do like they did with Clone Wars.
Just try to backstory the fuck out of it. Yeah, just backstory. And I think the only way you truly save the arc of the new characters is you have to do follow-up content. You do.
Oh yeah, you do content after.
Just
whether that be animated,
skip Tross and go right into Rey and Finn at their new temple training motherfuckers. It's like, come on.
Yeah. They're not going to use the world between worlds in a cartoon series to fucking to retcon stuff in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, they're never going to fully retcon someone else's work. It's just not happening in Star Wars. And I know a lot of people probably think if they sit Filoni down behind closed doors, they'll get him to talk shit about the sequels. And I promise you that would not happen.
No, he wouldn't.
I don't see it happen. That guy finds a purpose in every Star Wars canon thing created. And as he reiterates in that behind the scenes special, the reason Star Wars has lived so long and it has such a rabid fan base is because it is all connected. You can be an asshole like me and see an Easter egg in Book of Boba Fett that you first saw when you were 3 years old in A New Hope. That's the type of connection he's talking about. That's how connected they want Star Wars to be, from these days, the High Republic, all the way to the fall of Palpatine the second time.
Yeah. So it's not going to happen with that, but good thoughts anyway. The Angry Jawa is our last one. He says, the time travel in Rebels with the world between worlds worked because it was simple
what I've been trying
and not
to say.
overused to make massive changes to the timeline. That's speaking almost directly to what TBS Data Vault just said. If they continue to use this approach with only a certain few characters able to access it, it wouldn't bother me too much. I think that would be kind of the best way to do it, but like they can't use it like fucking Marty McFly not Marty, but like Biff, like where he goes back and gets a fucking thing and then changes the future. Like it would have to be very, very small use of the world between worlds.
And it's like I'm failing everyone and myself trying to explain how the worlds between worlds worked kind of perfectly. And the Angry Jaw was there. It was very simple because, listen, we saw Ahsoka survive that fight in the present timeline. We just didn't know, all right, well, how'd she go from that temple that was ready to fall on her fucking head with Vader to walking out of it banged up looking? So we knew she survived right there in the present. We just didn't know how. The world between worlds showed us that technically Ezra's would allowed her to ultimately survive that catastrophic structure failure and keep her around. So did he change the timeline? I don't know, because in the present we saw her there. She still ended up where she needed to be, even with Ezra messing with time. So they didn't really change the timeline, but they kind of did, because we didn't know how she got rescued.
This is when you start to get into like time travel paradox.
Our brains aren't equipped for it. The paradox kicks in, and eventually my brain is just going to start making sounds like blah, 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 blah,
yeah. You're going to grow fucking hot dog fingers, and then who the fuck knows?
Yes, Nick, you hot dog fingers. You know you love the hot dog fingers universe, man.
It was so random.
You love it.
So weird.
They have sex by like shooting mustard and ketchup on each other. Oh my God, I love that movie. Yeah. All right, anyways. I love the hot dog fingers callback. That's fantastic.
Well, that's the end of the question of the week segment for this week. Thank you to everybody who responded. There was actually a ton of responses. We had over 50 responses on the actual post, plus all the
look at me,
all the
honestly,
what you call stuff. Yeah.
If you notice, it didn't follow my theme. I didn't really base this on a current Star Wars topic. This is coming from Doctor Strange, and I'm currently going through the second season of Picard, which is getting into time travel and timeline changes and futures getting fucked up. So there you go.
I mean, it's still in the Disney verse. You kept it in the Disney verse. We'll put it that way.
Okay, Nick, it is time for the top 5 Star Wars Artists of the Week. Like I said earlier, this is the second route for getting featured, talked about, involved with the Star Wars Time Show. The way this works throughout the week, if you are a Star Wars fan and you create content of any kind, make sure to tag us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show and use hashtag Star Wars Time Show. Although I really should just get used to saying just use the hashtag, because for some reason, whoever the fuck is running Instagram quality control these days has decided that getting notifications, DM notifications for people just tagging you is a good feature, and that's how they want it to be. It still mind boggles me. It makes no sense at all. I don't know how big accounts even deal with it without going insane or just giving up on checking DMs altogether, because that's where we're at with Instagram. It's either you fucking ignore all your DMs because half of them are just going to be people tagging you, or you fix the fucking problem. Like,
that's what I would figure would be the better one. But
does any user of Instagram like that feature they turned on 2 or 3 months ago? No. Like, this is the problem we get when, one company ends up owning all these fucking applications. We got to remember this shit. There's no innovation. Their innovation is to make things worse. Fucking assholes. All right, anyways. Hashtag Star Wars Time Show. At Star Wars Time Show. Hit us up. Then throughout the week, I'll go through them in the mornings, feature them on the page, hopefully get some eyes on your account. And then on Mondays, after a week of features, Nick sits down, breaks out his Grand Poobah hat, turns on his record player, gets down to his undies in a cross-legged position, and picks the top 5 for the week. And that brings us to today's selection. So these are coming from the week 5259. And who do we got? I can see the top of it, and it's our favorite real-ass painter besides Devin at Savvy Art.
Indeed. I mean, this is a perfect... talking about the Star Wars What If universe, if they ever choose to expand on that, this is the perfect start for Star Wars.
I would love
What If.
Seeing the Skywalker family actually
being like a
family.
Nuclear family. Yes. So what we see here is little toddler Leia with her mother still alive, happy as can be, Padme Amidala holding her. It's just it's like one of those moments that you look at and you're like, man, only if that actually happened, only if we got to see what the Skywalker family could have really been like if there wasn't this tragic ending to it. Yeah. And this is a scene from that moment, just what could have been, and it's very touching.
It would
it's
actually
cool
validate Leia's story she tells Luke about her mom. She's like, oh, I didn't know my mom. I only knew my mom a little bit. She was always sad. It's like, no, you didn't, you fucking liar.
Yeah, it's like you didn't know her at all.
Your mom, Brea Organa, that's not your mom. Fuck out of here. But no, yes, Savi is giving us that dream of, look at it. Look at the love of little Leia for her mom, and just look how doting Padme is on Leia. And those two together, especially when Leia got older, can you imagine the Spitfire conversations between those two?
Powerful.
They would put the boys to shame. Luke and Anakin would be like, oh shit, your mom and your sister at it again on fucking galactic politics. Let's go fucking hit the lightsaber training, buddy. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go do
that
some
would be
rock,
such a fucking
some rock force meditation. These two are gonna.
This actually just seeing this image makes me want that What If series more for Star Wars. Now it actually does.
It has potential. Animated. Let's do it. Let's get it done. I'm trying. I already messed up. I don't like swearing a lot when Savvy is featured, because she does actually share it to her fans. Hey, check this out. It's on this show, but They're Neanderthals. Just don't mute it. Just look at my art, because you can't trust the one guy, the little guy. But hey, we love Savvy, love her art. Gets featured anytime she tags us. Just it's just a killer style, and this is it right here. This is what we're talking about. Love Beautiful it, respect stuff. It. Give her a follow at Savvy SAVVYYART on Instagram.
That's right. All right. Next up in the top 5, an awesome mashup shot from @Tanks TENKS 666, and it's a mashup between two of our favorite properties, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. And what we see here is the Mando folks going all out against a troll, an armored troll.
Awesome, isn't it?
From
I love it.
If you remember from the end of Return of the King, when the forces of Mordor are storming the White Castle of Minas Tirith, this is one of the trolls that kind of breaks through the door while Gandalf is standing there rallying the troops,
beating motherfuckers
kill
around
trolls.
like they're little gnats with his club, just like nope.
Crazy. I mean, it's insanely good looking. So you have Bo-Katan up on his neck, like trying to, pull his reins and strangle him. You got Din there on the ground, like firing his blaster into the armor, of course. You have Grogu standing there
doing his thing.
He's trying to do something with the Force. Yeah. And you can even see that the troll in his other hand has one of the guards of Minas Tirith.
That's right.
Just ready to fucking chunk him. Like,
dude, it's one of those franchise crossover shots that just works. I mean, you can see an LOTR troll being in Star Wars. Like, it doesn't. I mean, honestly, it almost looks like that monster they created for the Book of Boba Fett. It's just missing another set of arms. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
But Grogu's doing the thing. That's the other thing I remember. Robert explained, and it is insightful. If you notice, Grogu doesn't close his eyes when he needs to use the Force in big ways by the Book of Boba Fett, which shows that he has learned and has gotten better. Because remember, in season 1 and 2, he'd have to close his eyes and it would tax him till he would pass out. Here, he doesn't close his eyes until the Rancor is literally fell asleep, and then he goes up and nuzzles in for a nap.
Still a bad moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was too quick. I mean, he literally just used the Force to save Din 5 minutes earlier, and then they do the same thing. So
that was Boba's moment. Yeah. I don't care what the fuck Robert said.
You're right.
He was wrong.
No, I was just pointing out the fact that they're trying to show that Grogu did learn something with Luke. He is getting better, more powerful.
Yeah, he's progressive. At Tanks TENKS 666, amazing work here for the mashup between
even getting like the hook in the mouth and having the monster's head turn so it's reacting to getting fish hooked, like
dude,
it's good shit.
Just so much detail. I mean, you can see in the background, I don't know if that's supposed to be Mount Doom in the background, but like awesome stuff all around. Next up, action figure snaps at action figure snaps.
Speaking of snaps, if you're listening live or even after the fact, can you DM us when we're allowed to wear our Kenobi gear?
Our special shirts.
The logos have leaked, at least on Reddit, and I'm starting to think if we could get in soon, we might be able to get some cheap clout from it. So let us know.
It's like, look at this. That's right. We got gear.
Oh, we've had it for like a month at this point.
Yeah, we've had it.
And it's the official shit because I saw the images last week and it is slightly revealing. So I don't know. I'm asking though. We're not dickheads. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
I'm not going to put it on.
Break down a shot.
Anyway, action figure snaps has a fantastic shot of of Bo-Katan cries in the middle of battle with some stormtroopers. You see a huge explosion in the background. It looks like they're on some sort of. Doesn't look like it's an Imperial transport just from all the different scarring and the different coloration that you see on the walls and stuff, but they're in some sort of facility.
Do you know that's actually cardboard, Nick? Do you know that?
Really?
Yeah, I think it's an Extreme Sets, crazy. Which are pop-up cardboard dioramas, and they actually translate very well for pictures. I had one like it was more of a traditional cityscape or like city scene. But that's all cardboard. So it's sci-fi neutral. It's not necessarily Empire or good guys.
Makes sense. But still, like the level of detail that's in the shot. I love how he has one stormtrooper on the ground as Bo is just putting a bolt through his head, and you can see the follow through of the bolt going through his head. I know. And then like the incredible posing of the troopers that have been caught in the explosion that's happening in the background. I mean, Snaps just absolutely knocked this one out the park. Fantastic image.
I need to make one of these, Nick. They've been popping up a lot. They're not new, but they're fantastic practical effects. And that's that cotton ball. Like that explosion
Oh, okay.
Those are cotton balls with he either burn them or like, put a black marker on them and then you set a light under them and you get that effect and it looks fantastic.
It does. It looks just like an explosion.
It's better, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it looks like he also phased in some particles probably in post. But if you combine those cotton ball explosions with real fireworks, that is about as titties of an action shot as you can get for explosive action in toy photography.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm not creative. I'm not good with my hands, but I feel like I could glue cotton balls together to a cup and then put them over a light. I think I can do that. I think I have that capacity.
I think, yeah, you can do that. If not, you can get your 6-year-old to do that for a craft project.
Good point. Because some of these motherfuckers, man, like they'll take styrofoam out of a TV box and somehow turn it into a Star Wars diorama that looks like it's, a hovel or something. I look at a styrofoam from a TV box and go, that's styrofoam from a TV box. It's going in the trash. Like I don't even have the vision to get beyond its styrofoam. So
that is the true artist in their brain, literally seeing just a hunk of styrofoam and saying, I can make it this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so fucking lazy. If anyone wants to make these for me and sell them to me for a reasonable price, I'm putting it out there right now. Make me some cotton ball explosion fucks and send them my way, and I'll foot you the bill. Oh, I think Adrian's here, and yeah, for sure, we can wear the Kenobi. We just want to get a confirmation. Okay. I know they're on delays a bit, but if that's the case, I'm gonna be doing a fucking short like in a minute after the show here and throwing it up.
Change your shirt.
All right, but yeah, that's our boy at Action Figure Snaps, one of the longest tenured super fans of the show. Definitely the showerer of gifts. I think we have permanently moved him to the #1 pole position because he does send us gifts.
It's true.
So if you want to overtake Action Figure Snaps, you need to send at least, I don't know, 2 or 3 shirts, a long sleeve, a hoodie.
It's a big order. It's a big order.
Maybe some cotton ball explosion effects too. Okay.
There you go.
So there you go. The challenge is out there. Who wants to take the #1 fan spot? And we can be grease. There's no doubt about it. Like we've got no qualms with kickbacks. Getting a little on the back end, getting greased, whatever you want to call it. We're here for that.
Oh yeah. All right. Next up in the top 5, this is at Kiko.collects, and it's just an amazing portrait shot of the evilest dude in the galaxy, Emperor Palpatine. And I'm assuming this is a Hot Toys here because that's the only one that you're probably going to get that looks this damn good. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's as simple as just portrait style, good lighting, and a good pose. And Kiko pulled all 3 of those off.
I want to be like Kiko. I think if I could get to Kiko, I would do more photography because Kiko is one of the best portrait takers because of, like Nick said, it's great lighting, always good atmosphere, and there's always something in the background, even if it's digirama, that complements the subject. For some reason, my brain is just dumb and it wants to try to do, more advanced, detailed stuff. When I do find enjoyment in these portrait shots, they're probably never going to blow up and get like the thousands of likes, like a Sir Dork or a 1/6 shooter that can do the more dynamic diorama builds and scene setups. But I just wish I could get my head to this point. I'm not saying I could be Kiko. That's not what I'm saying. I just want to get to this philosophy with the art form. Just, you know what? Fuck it, man. Just portraits. Focus on lighting, framing the portrait, and that's enough. You don't need to get cute. You don't need to try to be a Jason B. Michael, a Sergeant Bananas, a visual approach. Just fucking do what you like. Mr. Lee is another one. Nick, I mean, he's mostly DC and stuff, but he's another one that has a massive following, but in my opinion, just does simple portrait setups that are just lit expertly. I need to get there. I'm feeling it. This is my new focus should be fuck you setting up outside, fuck explosions and particles. Just start trying to do some portraits again. So Kiko, Thank you for the motivation. Shots.
You have inspired,
yes,
Matt.
For sure. Shots like this do this for me. I just, for some reason, when I break out the camera and figure, I can't get my pudding brain to just say, you know what, fuck it. Just pull in tight, get the lighting right, and hit that button.
Keep it simple, stupid.
That's right.
I have a quick drop here for you guys. Apparently, GameStop ran a poll. Star Wars fans, what's your favorite lightsaber color? After 157,000 votes, 33% of people said purple, and that was the highest response.
Dickheads.
Purple 33, red 24, blue 23, green 20. So there you go.
See what you did, Sam Jackson? You had one fucking purple lightsaber
That's all
out
I
there.
did. One.
And
that's
now
all
it's
he
the
needed
best
was one.
because it's different. It is pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. I made my Galaxy's Edge lightsaber purple, so I'm not talking.
I have
shit.
the purple crystals too, so I like it. Anyway, last up for the top 5 could not be any more different than the one that we just saw from Kiko Collects. This one is from @odal_studio.
This is a stroke shot for me. Like this is where I have aneurysms right here.
That's what I was going to say. I think I picked this shot in particular because I was like, Matt is going to have a fucking freak out just seeing this.
It's crazy.
Because what we have here is a mountain, is a mountain of stormtroopers that are just like going up, firing blasters all around with Darth Vader on the top, staking the Imperial flag into the top of this mountain, lightsaber ignited. This is a wild shot just because, like you were saying, Matt, all of these figures had to be posed, had to stand up in a particular way, and have to stay on this fucking craggy mountain thing long enough for Odal to sit there, take a picture, and not have everything fall apart.
Yeah, dude.
Like, that just seems like it's impossible.
Odal Studio has to be a Zen master in life, because this to me just looks like I said, it's a stroke awaiting to happen. Even if using like sticky tack was involved, this setup to me is a nightmare. Like this is my living nightmare. And you're like, oh hey, do a toy shot, stack a bunch of figures together, so close together that if one falls, they're all gonna fall, and you're gonna have to redo it again before you take your shot. So. I actually think this is a recreation of a comic book cover or moment, Nick. Maybe we should head out to Odal real quick just to verify. I know you got to drop off right now, but I think we got 1 second here to verify. Maybe it wasn't. I thought for sure it was a.
If you got a security code thing, it's for me because I got logged out of Instagram.
Oh, got you. But Odal even had a recent one here I love. It's like the Night Owls and Sabine kind of looking at the aftermath of the Night of 1,000 Tears. That's another pretty slick setup from Odal Studio. But yeah, there you go. So that is our top 5 kick-ass shot from Odal. That's ODOL_studio. And like Nick said, this would be a Matt ball breaker type of shot. No doubt about it.
Yes, it would be.
All right. Well, young Nick's got to get out of here to entertain some company. So that brings us to the end of E212 Season Infinity of the Star Wars Time Show. Thanks again for all those of you that tuned in live on the live stream. Remember, if you want to get mixed up in that and you somehow have availability in the middle of the day during the work week, make sure to find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. We do them every Tuesday, 2:30 p. Eastern Time. Speaking of YouTube, those of you that are on the live stream right now, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And if you are someone that has been consuming the content and you're still not subscribed, before you subscribe, punch yourself in the face for taking this long to subscribe. And then put some ice on it because we don't want you to be hurt too bad. All right? Because it really is. There's always time for Star Wars Time. We are here for you throughout the week. Live stream Tuesdays, audio version on Wednesdays, but in between then, you never know. YouTube shorts, reels, TikToks, comic book breakdowns, trailer breakdowns, me being an asshole, me yelling too much, me making people feel uncomfortable. That is the Star Wars Time Show. So you can find us on the internet, starwarstime.net. I know we're not good enough to have the com, but we're on the net. So starwarstime.net, that's where you can find all the handy links to sub up to the podcast platforms that we are on, as well as the YouTube channel. Just click on that subscribe button, and it will click the subscribe button for you. Look at that. 2 seconds, no effort, and I promise you, you will not get spam. There's always time for Star Wars time, people. Never forget, we are here to remind you and to guide you through that galaxy that is so far, far away. And if you do listen to the Star Wars Time Show, I've heard that the Force will be with you always.